Last week, we picked it up again in Kraggodan's Furnace, is what these caverns are called, and you can now tell pretty clearly at this point why they might be called Kraggodan's Furnace. Um, I believe we started last session with the extremely bright Naga lair room where you found the two Nagas and the Trox, and they had attacked you pretty much on sight. One of them had given a command to the Trox, and the battle was sort of dangerous. I don't think anybody went down. Nobody was like close to death, I don't think, but there were
Kieran?
some. Was he?
Kieran did die.
Yeah, Kieran did die, but we're not talking about that
Not
yet.
in that combat.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes, sorry.
Yeah, not that. We'll get to that. But yeah, you were able to put down those foes. A little bit of a misunderstanding at the very end. The throes of combat had made things so confusing that things almost went awry at the very end when the remaining Naga and Trox had called for a ceasefire. But in the end, everything worked out just fine, no problems.
Forgot about all of that.
No, there was some misunderstandings, and some people didn't hear it, and it went sideways.
Well, it didn't matter because Jason wasn't going to let me get a cohort anyway, apparently.
Yeah.
All my altruism is a bluff just so that I can get powerful allies and min-max my character further.
Yes.
But after having negotiated with the two remaining combatants there, you rested and moved forward through the rest of the tunnels here. You went to a side chamber to the south where you found an interesting painting, a set of paintings with one of the many, many depictions of Nyarlathotep. But before you could really study it or anything, the ground beneath you gave way and you realized that you were standing in what was once just a chamber of lava that had cooled. And as soon as the ground broke beneath you and Kieran nearly got submerged in the lava but was able to jump out in time before just dying, the whole chamber began to collapse around you and you were forced to retreat. And luckily you all made it out there no problem. None of you were slow enough to get caught in the collapse, but you were able to heal up pretty easily after that, and with the illusory garbs that Kieran has, he could make it look as though he wasn't missing his pant leg and boot, and Gideon had like 3 extra pairs of boots, because he's got like 7 outfits.
That is something I need to bring up that I noticed after the fact. Was I realized that I was wearing the sleeves of many garments and also the bracers of armor, which both take up the arm slot or hand slot or whatever.
Wait, so Sarah was cheating?
So I removed the bracers of armor. I kept the sleeves of many garments on. The bracers of armor came off. They're in the party inventory to sell. So
oh my
just had to put that out there because I'm an honest player.
The absolute most flavored cheat that I have ever seen.
And I got rid of the thing that's mechanically good for me.
The most non-mechanical cheat ever.
Well, the reason why I did that is I'll just go back to casting mage armor. It is a better bonus anyway, and now it lasts a lot longer, so it's fine.
But moving on to the next chamber, you guys came face to face with an ancient horror of the Underdark called the Kardajin, and it is basically Pathfinder's version of the Beholder in a sense. It has many tentacles that it can do many different abilities, including ray attacks, which prove to be highly effective against the low touch AC, high normal AC party.
Like okay, who has a high touch AC? Who?
Monks.
All right, I'll accept that rebuttal.
So yeah, the plus 22 or whatever the heck it was touch attack did quite a bit of damage to everybody, and it was not until a little later into the fight when you realized that it had constant true seeing and that your displacements and mirror images and all that stuff were useless that things got really interesting. And Kieran's ability to with blind fight basically ignore most concealment pretty easily did a bunch of damage to the creature, which made it go full offensive and with some unlucky rolls, ended up with Kieran actually dying in that combat. And because of the mirror images, Breath of Life was not able to go off quick enough to bring him back up, which is something I noticed very interestingly. The second time now where defensive support spells have actually caused
seriously hindered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never had that happen before, but in this campaign, within the span of 2 or 3 sessions.
Yep.
I also love how you had posted over on the subreddit asking for some just confirmation and clarification that that's in fact how it works.
Yeah, just making sure. But luckily, you guys do have things at your disposal. You not only had a scroll of Raise Dead, but you all had an actual diamond, so you could cast Raise Dead. And I think you were able to use a scroll of restoration. Like, you cast actual Raise Dead and then a scroll of restoration.
That's correct.
So,
one scroll of restoration was used and has now thus been expended.
but with that, Kieran did come back to life and has 1 permanent negative level for pretty much a week until you guys can get that one gone again. But overall, a minor setback for the party. So you then moved forward to the next chamber, from which you saw a red glowing light. And as you entered the next large chamber, you were faced with a lake of lava. And that is where we left off, and where we will jump back in. So I will re-describe the scene for you here. As you exit this tunnel, you come to a beach of glassy stone that edges a vast lake of lava, stretching on for hundreds of feet. An ancient lava tube exits to the west, while to the north you see an ascending path of rock curves up the sides of this immense chamber. The path rises 700 or so feet before abruptly stopping at a distant large stone-arched door you can see in the glow of the lava light. A structure looking like an angled block of stone floats gently atop the bubbling pool of lava some 20 feet from the shore. The upper side of this structure has cracked open, exposing a hollow interior. The ceiling of this large chamber is shrouded in darkness and rises at least several hundred feet. Clusters of metal and ceramic piping descend from above to divert heat, steam, and noxious gases up through the ceiling. And that is what you see. The moment you guys enter this chamber, though, you are faced and just assaulted with extraordinary heat, which is not surprising for a lake of lava. The moment you enter the chamber, you all take 6 points of fire damage.
Which would make Kieran back out of the chamber, and I will cast Resist Energy Fire on myself, Jessup, and Oran, because I believe Gideon had something from last time.
Yes, Gideon had cast Resist Fire on himself before the card to Jean just switched to a different element.
Yeah. So you guys will each get Resist Energy 20 against fire. So you'll take the 6, but then I'll cast that, which will hopefully negate any of the just fire damage from being in this room.
I had cast Protection from energy.
You would cast not Resist Energy, you cast Protection?
Yes.
Okay. So you'll just have to keep ticking it up.
Yes. So, like, how many how much each round will I take?
It's not per round, I'll tell you. But for now, it's just as you enter the chamber, you're just breathing in the air. It is so hot that you're literally burning your lungs just from the air itself. But as soon as you cast, so Gideon, you're fine because you have protection, but as soon as Kieran casts the resistance on the 3 of you, you walk back into the chamber and you feel like you can manage pretty well.
Oh, Kieran does not like this at all. I think he's developing a fear of fire.
Kieran, it's fine. Just, don't do the hokey pokey again in the lava, and I think you'll be all right.
Well, I don't plan on it. I'm almost out of spells, though, is the only thing, so I don't have much to get me out of a bind if I get into one.
Who Who needs spells?
What's the thing in?
The thing there is there's a stone structure that's floating in the lake of lava, and the upper half of it is cracked open, and it looks like it's hollow. There's a hollow interior to whatever this stone structure is.
It's a lava boat.
What would you like to do?
So I guess since Jessup isn't too worried about the hotness, what are available paths? It looks like there is a steep path this way that looks like that there is no reason to be alarmed.
Gideon or Kieran, would you be willing to fly over and investigate that structure? I mean, I understand what I'm asking. It's a bit much, so feel free to say no. I know you can fly, but
I'm just,
it's a lake of lava. I understand.
Yeah. That's the thing is, I don't know if there's anything in the lava where if I try to fly over, it's going to suddenly reach out, grab me, and try to pull me in. And I don't know if I'm willing to take that chance.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Jessup turns. Could you cast Fly on Gideon?
Yeah, that'll go well. All 800 pounds of armor that he's got on.
He shall not falter.
Not quite 800, Kieran. I think it's only 7.
Okay. My bad. I'll remember that next time.
7 pounds? That's really light.
Jessup, you're pretty lithe. Do you want me to cast it on you and you can fly over?
Sure. I mean,
you don't have to. I don't know if there's anything
No.
over there.
I don't. No one has to do it. It was just a good-natured ribbing. It was a joke.
Well, speaking of, I mean, Oran, if you're feeling adventurous, I can throw it on you.
Yeah, you're so close to home you could taste it. That's actually the fire breath.
I don't know how to fly.
Oh, it's easy. Once you get it cast on you, you just kind of think and have to roll a fly check here or there. You'll be fine, no problem. -8 fly skill.
Yeah, I have a -8 to my fly.
I give you half my caster level, so
Woo!
6,
4.
5.
So 5. Great, awesome.
So
Good luck with that.
-3.
Awesome.
I'm
Good luck with
assuming if we try to go over this way, Jason, it's going to be pretty slick or something. Is it slanting toward the lava or back down to us? Or
No, it doesn't look like it's particularly slick or slippery or slanted. It's just a stone pathway that goes along the edge of the area. You don't immediately think that it would necessarily be treacherous.
I say we should phone a deity on this one, Gideon.
We can. So Gideon's going to take a step up and just kind of narrow his gaze. Check out, is there anything that stands out here about this particular structure? This is for sure a dead end, and how far north can he see?
Okay, go ahead and roll a perception check.
Jessup should start up his Inspire Confidence to help
Ooh.
Gideon see better.
That's a 6. That's not bad though. On
Okay.
a 6 on the die.
So at 30.
Yeah.
All right. And say again what you were looking for.
How far north this passage goes before it winds out of sight? Confirmation that this is a dead end, or maybe there's something there they don't see. And if there's anything of interest on this structure.
Okay. So to the south, it does appear to be a dead end. You are standing on functionally a beach, right? Like a beach of glassy stone.
Okay, so
But there's nothing to the bottom of you.
And we're not up. Like, this isn't like a pit of lava below us. It's like...
No, that's like you could step in it right now if you wanted to.
I don't want to do that, but thank you.
So the other question, as far as the northern passage, the northern walkway, a path of rock curves up the side of the massive chamber. The path rises several hundred feet before abruptly stopping at a large stone arched door that you can see in the distance.
So we can see the door.
You can see a door, a large door that this walkway leads up to. And it's pretty high up, but it's just at the point where the glow of the lava still illuminates it enough for you to see.
So looking into that hollow interior of the central building.
So yeah, you can't see inside of it because you are standing, technically it's a little bit above you because it's floating above the lava. You can tell that it's hollow and has seemingly a hollow interior, but you can't see inside of it necessarily to know what might be inside. However, with your 30 perception check, you do notice something else. You're looking at the area, you're looking ahead into the lake of lava, you're just trying to take in your surroundings, studying everything. You see that there are 3 patches of lava that don't seem to move quite right. There's a very, I don't know if you'd call it a current, but there's a very slow movement of lava throughout this lake that you can follow, kind of like a slight ebb and flow of it. But there are 3 spots that seem like stationary. They're not following the same flow as the others.
Jessup,
Sure. What's up?
do you see there any kind of points to the different things? Ever seen anything like that before? Creature maybe that lives in lava or some kind of...
Here, let me squint my aged eyes here to see what you're pointing at. Do I see what he's referencing?
You can make you can see the spots that he points out, and you can make just roll an intelligence check for me.
I rolled to aid.
Okay.
You're so smart, Jessup.
Let me see your stat block to see if you could aid on this check. You can aid on this check.
Oh, I can?
So it's just a straight intelligence check, you said?
Yeah, I'm looking at your stats to see what it would be. Okay, so I have that number.
Okay, so I got a 10. I'm about as even as I could be.
And so Gideon did aid. So
Well, I guess is it a knowledge check that you're trying to figure out? Because I would roll with advantage because I have investigative mind.
Okay, roll another
I
intelligence.
guess that's
check.
why I was asking if it was intelligence or knowledge. But all right,
Yeah,
so I'm just
yeah.
gonna roll. All right, I'm
Okay.
taking the 10. I got a
Yeah,
four.
let's take the-
Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah, let's take the 10.
With Gideon's aid, I mean, I think you just hit the DC on your own, but with Gideon's aid for sure, you do have a little bit of spark of recognition in your head. There are not very many creatures that could just sit in lava. The one that would come to your mind are magma elementals. Yes, that would be the first one you would think of.
Oh, that might be. Is there any way, Jason, that you can just indicate on the map where they are?
Yeah, so the sections that you don't see moving are there, and there. Those are the 3 sections that
Holy crap, that's pretty close. Just take a step back. Oh, well, I think maybe they could be magma elementals? Creatures that live and burrow in lava. I mean, that's nothing I want to trifle with. This resists energy.
I don't know much about them, Jessup. Are they dangerous?
I wouldn't give it a hug.
Fair enough.
I mean, probably anything could be dangerous. I mean, I don't know.
I'd rather not aggravate them if we can avoid it. I can just dimension door us up to that door if we want to bypass the whole path leading up there.
I think that very well could be best.
I've got one of those left, so...
With only one, I wonder about...
Well,
Well,
I have that new thing I haven't done yet, teleport. I've got one of those if we really get into a bind.
It's your powers. I'll let you do what you think is best, Kieran, and I'll go along with it.
All right, well, did you want to inspect that hollow building? I'm not volunteering. I'm not going to do that, but if you want to, I'll wait for you.
Is this elevated, Jason, up here?
Yeah, so as soon as you get to the first little horizontal line on the path, it starts to go upwards.
Okay, so
So-
feasibly we can see down into it, maybe up here.
Yeah, if you got up there, you might be able to see into it a little bit, but from your current point of view, you can't. But also, I would point out, so assuming that these are indeed magma elementals, they haven't made any movements from your presence. You don't know if they would care about you going up the staircase. It's up to you if you'd like to dimension door or not, but it does raise up, so you could always attempt to ascend quickly enough to get out of reach, even if they did get angry. So that I'll just leave that to your discretion, whether you'd like to take that little bit of risk or just play it safe.
Yeah, that or I can try to figure out what language they speak and try to talk to them. You know, because that probably always works.
I will admit, Kieran, I am somewhat curious what might still be there, but I suspect it's nothing. It just looks like some kind of building or structure, though, that had me curious.
Well, we could always do this the old-fashioned way. We could just tie ropes to each other, and that way if one of us slips and falls, we've got a chance to keep him from falling in the lava. But I also can use the spell if you'd rather me do that.
Well, why don't we, well, that won't work. Never mind.
What?
Oh, well, if Kieran had more uses of Dimension Door, we could feasibly go to the top here and Dimension Door in and then Dimension Door back out, but, only has one use for today, so...
Yeah, sorry about that. Something about dying and coming back. Just don't have all my abilities anymore.
Yep. Nope. I've heard that happens.
Yep. It's not great. It's really not great. In a variety of ways, I'd like to avoid it.
I mean, better than being dead, though.
Oh, 100%. Like, we had this conversation. I'm going to come back every single time if you call me to come back, but I'd rather not get to that point where I have to make that decision, you know what I mean?
How tall is this building?
He's gonna jump it!
You don't know how deep into the lava it is, but the part that is exposed is probably about 5 or 6 feet up.
And it's not melting at its edges?
Nope.
Dwarven engineering for you.
If you want to cast fly, I'm willing to go. I'm not sure how much it would help. I'm gonna see if I take off the armor, what that does.
This can only go well. There's nothing bad that can happen from this.
Swimmingly, guys.
I would...
But I kind of want to see how it plays out.
I mean, I kind of really want to see what's in there.
I don't. Kieran does not care. There's nothing in there that's going to entice him to fly over a lake of lava with magma elementals in it.
See, where Kieran grew up, they had a saying called "Curiosity kills the cat," but they didn't have that saying where Gideon.
Yeah, right.
No.
Yeah, where Gideon's from, its curiosity is unclear.
Curiosity is unclear.
So, Gideon, you take another 4 points of fire off of your protection.
Okay. What happens if I with protection and my clothing if I touch lava?
What? Why? What are you doing?
Mean, you'd be protected.
Okay.
Until you ran out of the spell, and then things would get interesting.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. I was just curious. I was just curious. Okay, I can let it go.
I mean, I've got 2 uses of fly, Gideon. I wouldn't advise it because if something happens, we can't get you out of there.
No, there can't be anything in there that really matters. It's just interesting.
I mean, there probably is. It's probably something super important. But
it's probably plot relevant. We probably need it to get into Kraggodan, in which case we'll just come back here and grab it.
Like I said earlier, it's probably a key that weighs 5.01 pounds.
Right. Just enough so that Mage Hand can't pull it back.
Is there anything supernatural that's keeping the structure from not succumbing to being burned?
Do we detect magic?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Blue, 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 blue,
If you
blue,
detect magic, you don't detect that the structure is magical in any way.
Could I roll a knowledge engineering?
Yeah, go for
that
it.
helps with figuring out about material components.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm just gonna do my 20. So
okay.
Another 10.
So you're looking at it. Whatever it is, it definitely looks like it was dwarven made. It's either due to time or due to the presence and extreme heat of the lava. Any etchings or architectural designs have been eroded away enough that you can tell it's dwarven, but you can't get any cool details. It's not any well-preserved art piece or anything.
I'm sure if there's any details, they'd be hot.
Yeah. Yes. You can tell that it looks like the vault.
I want to go. I go. I'm right across
He
the
called it a vault. He called it a vault.
It looks like it was made out of basalt or basalt, whatever it's however you pronounce that, basalt, and is just naturally proven too durable for the magma to melt. It seems it doesn't look like it was magically preserved. It's just an extremely durable material.
It's just very tempered stone, Gideon, that probably has no relevance whatsoever, and it's basalt, not a vault. I misspoke. My apologies.
It could be a basalt vault, perhaps.
Whose side are you on, Kieran?
I'm sorry. I should just keep quiet.
Don't you know you can't joke around that man?
I understand. I just don't feel well.
Well, death will happen to you like that. So, do we want to try to maybe just go across ourselves? And then, worst case, if Kieran needs to try to bamf us out, we can beg and plead for our lives?
That seems like a good idea.
It's not, but it's probably one of the best ones we got.
It'll be fine.
All right, Kieran's gonna bring up the rear, I guess.
Across the first line! Does anything happen?
No, nothing.
First checkpoint.
Across the second line!
Wait, Oran, quick save!
quick
Quick save after every step! What are you doing?
Jason, I'd like to save, please.
We pressed F5.
Well, yeah.
This is amazing. I want to see what's in there so bad, but I
Stop-
don't have the
Well,
tools.
Kieran's just waiting for Gideon to go.
Yeah, no,
I figured-
Gideon goes. He's just
Oh,
the whole
no.
time he keeps kind of like looking back longingly at the
Can we
structure.
see in it now from where
Yeah,
I'm
now
at?
that we're higher up.
Yep. So you look, once you get to a higher up point, you look inside of it, and it's very difficult to see anything clearly, but it looks like the entire interior of the structure, the entire bottom of it, has like a molten sort of flooring. You're looking at it a little closer. It looks like whatever was inside of this structure, there was probably an extraordinarily large amount of gold and silver items that have hence been melted into just molten electrum that covers the entire floor of the structure. And it's so hot that it's just like permanently melted gold and silver throughout the entire floor. You don't know how deep it is, but it would probably be, you would guess it would probably be hotter inside the structure than it would be outside of it.
How can we safely extract this?
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I don't think that's an option.
Well, obviously we press on. Does it look like it burned in the last like 5 minutes while we were talking? Just gold fortune just going away.
So it says here, yeah, the extreme heat destroyed most of blah 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 blah, and melted the stockpile of gold and silver into a knee-deep pool of liquid electrum. The electrum is hot enough to inflict horrific burns without magical protection. But here's the thing: it is worth a certain amount if the PCs can figure out how to extract it. Doesn't tell me how to do it.
I'm sure there's magical means to extract it, some creative shenanigans with pocket dimensions, but I'm not gonna mess with it. Let's just go.
Yeah, I will show you as you guys ascend the pathway. I will show you what you decided not to encounter.
Oh really?
Oh boy.
Because these are some of the coolest tokens that I have.
It's just vomiting fire. That's gross.
It is fire. Yeah, it's amazing. I love
They're
that
awesome.
art.
They only have 2 fingers, though. That's got to be picking stuff up
I
different.
take it back. Let's fight them.
No.
Let's fight them. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Why not? You don't want Jason not to use his tokens.
So you guys get to the top of this pathway, and you arrive at this large stone door. The stone path curves up to the northern side of this immense chamber housing the lake, the lava lake. It rises several hundred feet before abruptly stopping at a stone-arched entrance, and you can see this large stone door. You walk up to it, and I don't know, do you guys try to
Bang on it!
open it, push on it? Do you just go ahead and bang on it? What do you do?
I'm trying to open it.
Careful, it might be hot.
I got protection. We'll be fine. Live forever.
You go to push on it, and it does not budge. It seems like it is either locked or reinforced, or
Try pulling. Maybe the pull door.
there's no levers to pull on it. There is a mechanism you think that would be like a key sort of thing.
Oh, Lord. It's in the vault.
So Kieran would try to take 20 on a strength check to push against it.
Yeah, get those abs out.
What does that get you?
There's no magical ward or arcane or alarm spell or like arcane lock or anything.
Yes. It looks like the doorway has an aura of abjuration around it.
Oh, does it? Oh, well, then That would be stupid of me to try to open it if it's magically sealed. I guess I could still try, but we also have the Chime of Opening, which dispels magical...
Well, I can try to disable the device again.
Do we have a key? I mean, maybe I'm forgetting. Perhaps there's a key?
None of you are aware of having any sort of key. If you're looking around the area, around the little alcove that this door is into, you would see, Gideon especially with your perception, you would see something in the corner, a small pouch. If you walked over and picked it up, you would see that it appears to be a set of masterwork thieves' tools, and it bears the insignia of the Iron Fang Legion on it.
Oh, Kieran walks over and he goes, "Oh, sorry, those are mine. I dropped those."
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Balfoony the whole time.
Oh my god.
The whole
Oops, did I
time.
just spill a secret?
Actually, I don't think that we're the first ones to pass through here. Looks like some members of the Legion might have tried. And he passes it over to Jessup. That's their symbol, yes?
How did they get past the Nagas and the Trox?
Might be working together.
I guess maybe. Which means, well, either they were all killed and this is the only thing that remains, or they were able to get through.
Anyone who wishes, or the party as a whole, however you want to handle it, give me a survival check.
In the meantime, Jason, I would like to take my Chime of Opening and strike it once near the door. So,
Okay.
As a reminder, a Chime of Opening automatically dispels a hold portal spell or even an arcane lock spell cast by a spellcaster of lower than 15th level. So I'll just expend a charge off of that just for the fun of it to see what happens, if anything.
I'm going to aid whoever had the highest bonus.
I will aid somebody as well.
Nope.
Nice.
Nope.
Wow. Okay, so 18
Negative
is
one.
what I rolled,
So 20.
because mine was a straight check. It was not an
Okay.
aid.
Yeah, because you have the highest bonus at 4, yeah.
4. Wow, guys.
We're not good at surviving. Kieran especially. I mean, yeah, Kieran's died twice, so that's how his survival's going.
Yeah, you don't really notice anything of note. Like you're looking around and you're trying to see like what left this pouch behind. How long ago was it? How many creatures might have come through here? You're looking for any sort of information that might shed some light on it. You just don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking if the door had been open, like if it had some marks of being open.
Any fancy stonework, Jason, that Oran might notice?
Or Kieran with his
Or
belt.
Kieran, because he's technically a dwarf now.
Yes.
You don't detect any stone-related hidden doors or stone-related hidden traps or anything. It looks like this is just an extremely sturdy, reinforced dwarven door. And
After-
you hit the chime, it doesn't appear to do anything.
Even and
Rats.
so, if I detect magic again, it still has the abjuration.
Yep, still has abjuration. You could, I think you can try to identify it.
Can I roll to aid someone to identify it? Because I have spellcraft 4.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
you
I could-
point it out to somebody, then you could all try to spellcraft what the abjuration spell is.
Mine is an aid, because I usually either aid Kieran or I aid Jessup.
Whoever has the highest, I'm aiding.
I usually aid Kieran.
Yeah, so I currently have a 15, but it's actually going to be a 14
Oh,
because well, and I was just about to say, I don't know if you'd want me to roll it because I'm energy drained, but it would just be -1 to my
Oh,
check,
well, you guys
so.
can conveniently use Jessup's roll if you prefer.
No, I'll roll it, and I don't know if this is going to calculate correctly, so wow. That's
Well,
It did,
20 plus 6, so 20, what, 24?
24 with the aids.
Okay, so that is enough to identify that it is. You would have to assume the second half of it, but it would be a pretty easy assumption to make. The abjuration spell is resistance against fire, and you would assume that it also is permanent.
Oh, that makes sense.
Oh,
Okay.
So this door is permanently like made immune to heat, basically.
That's convenient. I'd like that for myself.
Soren gives the old knuckle crack. Should we try some force then?
Do you want me to take a crack and try to pick the lock like maybe the Legion did?
I think that's probably the smarter approach, and he'll step back.
Yeah, I mean, the alternative, Oran, you and I can bring out the muscle and try to bust our way in.
Yeah, just let us know when you give up, Jessup. We'll push.
Oh,
Oh,
those are fighting
Jessup,
words, Gideon.
I hope you get a
Woo.
nat. I hope you get a nat 20, bud. I really
Right.
hope you get a nat
You know,
20.
Prove him wrong.
Prove him wrong.
I'll go handle this door over here. Gideon, why don't you take the fly spell and go down that platform?
So as he walks past, Gideon kind of shuffles a quiet bit to Oran. 5 gold coins. He gets it on the first try.
Well, I bet you Oran's going to win, because Jessup's going to take a 20, lols.
Okay. So you take a 20 on your disable device check. What does
Yes.
that get you?
So I already had Thieves' Tools, but I have a 10 bonus, so that would give me a 30.
So you go up to this door and you get your thieves' tools out and you're working at the mechanism for a bit. And so 2 minutes go by because you're taking 20. Gideon another 3 and then another 3. So another 6 off of your protection against fire. And after that time, Jessup, you just kind of sigh and shake your head and you don't think there's any chance of you picking this lock.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jessup. I was actually rooting for you.
Man, I really need to put some ranks in this here.
Well, like I said, I've got one more dimension door. I could just dimension door us to the other side.
But we might fall into lava.
Yeah, well, I guess, do you guys want to try
Just give
a
it the old-
muscular approach?
The old strength.
Just will move over here and just give you some words of encouragement. Some flavor-inspired courage. You could do it.
All right, so I guess we'll try to just push it open, Jason.
Roll strength check.
Can I take 20?
Okay, what does that get you?
With my... What?
For me.
35.
What?
We got a plus 15 to strength.
Oh God, no! I'm looking at my score. Holy crap! 22.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Jeez, 35. Well, if I buff up, I got full strength there. I can throw that in. And...
Yeah, so I'm energy drained, so mine's actually going to be a 24.
So you guys are pushing on the door and it's not budging. It is a massive stone door and you do think that it has been reinforced. It might not be impossible, but would be extremely difficult.
Oran just shouts, "Hello!" in Dwarven.
The magma elementals in their languages are hello.
Great. All the way we survive all the way to level 12.
Stop my door.
So many. We can't get through a door.
All right, listen. We can dimension door over, and I've got a teleport. So if things go bad, we're already hanging onto each other. I can just
Wait, is that
cast
the
teleport.
reason this is oh Lord!
Oh.
Things have gone
Wait,
bad.
Jessup's dead. Go through the dimension door. Jessup's dead.
Jessup will roll a perform oratory and speak in Golem to head open the door.
Golem.
Yes,
Golem.
in Golem.
Not what's their language?
Yeah.
Igar.
Egnin or something like that?
Ignis is the fire language. Terran is the earth language.
Yeah.
So are they Earth? They would be Earth. They should be Earth.
Who knows?
No,
I
they're
do.
Magnum. Come on, they're fire probably, right?
No, they're Earth because it's rocks that
Who
are
knows?
hot.
They're fire rocks.
Could be anything.
They're fire rocks.
It's fire rocks. Okay, Kieran, I think that's probably the best bet at this point. I'm at a loss. Let's dimension door and hope for the best.
All right.
Oh goodness gracious!
Oh, it's fine. We'll be fine. I can just teleport us. I don't know where I'm teleporting yet, but if worse comes to worse, we'll just go back to Long Shadow.
Is there any way for us to tell how thick this door is?
I would say dimension door. Can you just say, I want to go 10, 15 feet that way?
It's just dimensional magic. Why not?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
And we all teleport inside of a table, and it cuts us in half.
Yeah, it says you always arrive at exactly the spot desired, whether by simply visualizing the area or by stating direction. So I state that way. Yes,
Okay.
we're picking up the lock picks.
Yeah,
if
we have
nobody else is, I figured
Okay.
Jessup would take
I
it.
didn't know if you guys. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, yep, we would be taking those with us.
Okay.
All right, everybody gather round.
I'm
And-
very much trusting you, Kieran.
He kind of laughs like, ha, 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 and then casts it.
You cast Dimension Door, and you all, with a visible boomf, just on the other side of the door, and unfortunately, the entire chamber is filled with lava. No.
Ah!
We fall 200 feet into an acid pit.
No, better yet, we're probably just going to be in this, 10-foot 10-foot thick door, and Gideon and
Right.
Jessup get shunted out.
They get shunted
Taking-
back into the lava pit.
Yeah, just die after taking ridiculous amounts of damage. Corpse unrecoverable as it is incinerated immediately.
Well, Jessup has resist energy fire, so he slowly burns away and dies.
Good for
Yeah.
Jessup. Good for
Oof.
Jessup. We might
He'll
be able
die
to get his
slowly.
body out.
You just pull a Smeagol or a Golem falling into the
Right.
Mountain Doom. You just slowly.
He's got slow fall with his ring too, so he slowly falls.
Yeah, right.
No! Slowly falls. Oh, that'd be terrible.
In the following chamber,
Watch us have bamfed into like 50 Iron Fang Legion just standing there camped out.
this is actually where their base of operations has been the whole time.
We
Oh.
can take.
This is inside an Onyx Tower.
Great,
They're
great.
like, the dwarves would never expect us to just be in their own city.
Right, we were supposed to go this way, actually. Even though it's not indicated on the map, there was a secret passage, and this was not the right way to go.
So you guys dimension door to the other side of this this large stone door, and you find yourselves in a long tunnel, and it slowly goes upwards. It meets a worn staircase, a very old worn staircase that goes upwards out of sight.
We're alive, I guess.
We're alive. I suppose we should go up this staircase.
Jessup turns around to the door. Is like there a latch or something that he can unclick to open the door or something?
It's like one of those. It's like a normal doorknob where it has just the turn lock, like a little like on the doorknob. That's all that was holding it was a little doorknob. Yeah.
Turns out it truly was a pull door this whole time, and we're just pushing on it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look like this door can be opened without the proper key or mechanism to open it.
We're really good disabled device check.
Well, somebody's going to be very surprised at us coming. I don't think anybody would have expected us to get through this door. But
Well, you know, that
we're still
might
alive.
be a good thing, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely.
What's his face? Gideon will do one last check for an alarm. I don't know if you can detect those normally, but he's gonna
Detect
try.
magic.
Yeah, that's what he does. But
Okay, so you're detecting the door for an alarm?
not the door, just the door, and then also like the general area. So he'll look and wait 3 rounds and turn around and look 3 rounds.
You don't detect anything in the immediate area in front of you. If you go back to the door and detect, and with your spellcrafts, you'd probably be able to tell. There does appear to be an alarm spell cast immediately past the door that I believe you would have bypassed with Dimension Door. Oh, it's a 20-foot radius. Oh yeah, once you detect it, like you're totally standing in an alarm spell.
No,
right
no,
now.
no. I said go like 40 feet that
I heard that.
direction.
I
Yeah.
heard that.
Yep.
Yep.
I
Yep.
don't recall
checks out.
that.
That checks out. Let's go to the chat logs.
Speaking of, could we see behind the door though, like the path from over here?
Behind the door.
Like this door goes to an edge of lava, or to like a door?
No,
to...
so the pathway goes off the map.
Gotcha.
The pathway leads up to the door, and there's maybe like a little semicircle in front of the door that you can stand on, but it's otherwise just a cliff down into lava. Like there's nothing around the door. There's nothing like it's right into the side of the chamber, right into the side of the cavern, basically.
Yeah, no, Sarah definitely did say though 40.
I don't think
Yeah,
so.
yep, totally.
I mean, even if you said 40, it's a 20-foot radius. So
No,
if somebody
no.
put it 20 feet from the door, it would go 40 feet.
Yeah. You're reminding me. She said 60. Yeah, thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, I said the full length of whatever dimension door is, so like 750 feet.
Oh, so you're just in the middle of a volcano now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we trust Kieran.
Yeah, option 1, you're in an alarm spell. Nothing bad there. Option 2, middle of volcano. Take your pick.
I'll take the volcano, honestly, just to see what would happen.
But yeah, Gideon, you cast detect magic, and you can tell there is an alarm spell in this entire chamber. It looks like the thickness of the door was thick enough that you can't detect past the door itself.
How amazingly convenient.
Yeah, it's quite convenient, isn't it?
Yeah, almost too convenient. Almost like designed that way.
It's almost like they wanted to catch people coming through here.
Now, why would anyone want to catch somebody going through a perfectly innocuous door?
Yeah,
Doesn't make any sense.
I was very much worried about that, though. Well, whatever, whoever is here, they know that we are.
Well, let's just hope that they're friendly.
I'll let Jessup do the talking like normal.
Sure. I'm good at that. Kind of mostly.
Really? I mean, I'm okay.
Or we could just let the legitimate dwarf talk a little bit.
Oh,
I mean,
okay. The dwarf that's from Kraggodan. It's fine. It's fine. I'm sure you guys will do better. Good luck.
I mean, statistically, it is possible for me to do better.
Is there still lava near us?
No, so as soon as you get past the door, and now that the door's protective charms are keeping the heat of the lava a little bit at bay, you basically drop from a heat of like, I don't know how many hundreds of degrees Fahrenheit that would have actually been, but you go from extreme heat to basically like normal room temperature. Like there's a massive drop in heat as soon as you get past that doorway.
Oh, this feels so much better. So much better.
Compared to what you were in just now, it'd be like stepping out of a sauna into like winter.
Arctic.
Like a massive drop in temperature. Do you guys continue down the tunnel?
Yeah, and just walk on down. Just walk.
Jessup does cautiously, but sure.
No, like we belong. I walk with purpose.
That's how traps triggered.
He's looking.
You trigger 13 traps before you make notice.
All right, so then I die.
So, the tunnel here eventually meets a worn stairway, and the worn stairway beyond this stone arched door, as you follow it upwards several hundred feet, eventually ends in a large chamber that is filled with mining equipment and tools for what you would imagine to be maintaining various pipes and ducts that are in the edges of this hallway and tunnel the whole way across it that you assume access the lava that you just came from. In the chamber, you see an iron gate on the opposite side from where you enter it. And sitting in front of this gate are two dwarven bodies that they appear to have been mummified by heat and are propped up on stone chairs. And they just sit near the exit of this chamber, near this iron gate, as if guarding it. But they're just like mummified dwarven bodies. And I'll move you guys to this map here.
Is there a check to know what they might be?
Yeah, roll in knowledge planes.
I have that one, but Jessup will just own me at it.
That's the spirit. Jessup will roll with advantage.
I will just aid Jessup.
Oh, you do aid.
So that's going to be a 31.
So I'm going to hold on to that check for now. Because at the moment, as you're looking at these creatures, they just look like mummified dwarven corpses at the moment. They aren't moving. They don't appear to be animated in any way.
Why are they just sitting there staring? Did they just sit there so long that they died? All right, Oran, you're from Kraggodan. Don't you know anything about this?
Yeah, I mean, my check was held, so I don't know.
No, I don't mean like to identify them, but just why there would be two bodies guarding this door.
I don't know. Could be a form of some kind of magic, I suppose. They could be some kind of ancestral guards, I suppose. I'm not
So
really
we
sure.
just forget to relieve them of the shift or something?
They could be very late to their shift change.
That's unfortunate.
I don't know. I think we're just gonna have to press on.
Stairs up this way?
No, this isn't an official map, so it was the closest I could find.
So like there's a gate.
Flavor
There's like a
stairs!
gate.
Wait. So these stairs are unreal.
Flavor stairs again.
Yes, flavor
Yeah.
stairs, like the cabin.
You see two intricately carved dwarven flavor stairs.
Nice. They just go to
Just-
nowhere. I love it.
Jessup walks
Just like
face
a
first
cabin.
into it. It's like the Wile E. Coyote just draws the stairs on the rock. Jessup runs into it. Is it a will save to disbelieve the illusion?
No, there isn't.
Kieran's gonna walk up to one of these and just kind of give it a closer look.
Yeah, so as soon as you guys get to here on the map, as soon as you get to this iron platform here, that
Okay.
stone platform here, you can see that the bodies suddenly animate.
Oh,
Ah!
what a shock!
And you
Didn't
can
expect
see you can
Oh,
see
great heavens!
a blue glowing light in their eyes, and they both stand up and grab a shield and an axe.
that.
and
Oh,
I'll show
Torag,
you-
preserve us.
I'll show you the token I have for what this creature is.
That's terrifying. That looks like a Viking.
So at this point, Jessup, your knowledge check, I will have it go through because you have some stuff to go on here. You're looking at these creatures, and they appear, given, like, you're trying to narrow down, like, are they undead? Are they this, that, or the other thing? You're going through a list. And what you eventually settle on is that they are an extraplanar creature known as an Einherji. That's probably not how you pronounce it.
Yeah. No, I've heard of that.
That I put it in the chat. Einherji. I don't know if it's Einherji or if there's some silent letters in there, but basically, you presume that these creatures, so Einherji normally are warriors who die in glorious battle and find that the call of their skill and prowess, even after death, brings them basically back to where they had died. And you don't know the details of these particular individuals, but you would probably assume that maybe they were guards here that were killed in battle at some point, but their devotion to Kraggodan brought them back from whatever plane they had gone to re-inhabit their bodies or to make new forms.
So, fun fact for everybody listening, I looked it up. It is pronounced Inheryi because it's like the Viking J where it's like a sound, so Inheryi.
Yeah. So as you get there, they animate, they stand up, and you learn a little bit about that. Actually, what was your check again? It was a 31. So you would get 2 pieces of information about them as well if you wanted to know. The general stuff that I normally give you, typically speaking, Einherji are chaotic neutral medium outsiders with the extraplanar subtype.
Are they inherently like, well, and I guess more of a sense motive check to it. I guess I'll get to that, but sure. Any defenses?
You know that typically speaking, these sorts of creatures have permanent freedom of movement. They have DR. They have immunity to cold, disease, fear, poison, resistance to most of the other elements, and spell resistance.
Okay. They got something cool they can do?
I mean, there's a number of things here.
Sure, give me something cool they can do.
They
Probably
have,
the one that will least likely to come up. That would be the one I want to know.
So one of their special senses is that they are also under the constant effects of a Death Watch spell.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so that's all that you learn. And then, again, as they animate and stand up and arm themselves, basically, they look ahead, and the one on the left says, "Who approaches?"
Jessup kind of just like looks over to Oran.
Oran Grimbane of Kraggodan?
Well met, brother. You may pass.
Oh, are my friends allowed to join me as well?
Who are your friends?
These are my party members. We're fighting against the Iron Fang Legion. I trust every one of them with my life.
He looks to the other 3, immediately sees that you are not dwarven.
This one is.
That's a dwarf.
Yeah, I'm basically a dwarf.
That's a dwarf right there.
I'm just a bit tall for my age.
You have a belt of dwarven kind, but you're not actually a dwarf.
Jessup's kind of tall for a dwarf, but he's still fat and squat.
I will speak in Dwarven and say, I'm also a dwarf of Kraggodan.
Oh gosh!
Oh my gosh!
I'm just kidding.
Why?
I don't say that. I don't actually say that.
The creature looks back and says, "No, they will not pass. They are not of Kraggodan."
But do we just have to say that we're of Kraggodan? Did you just believe him?
He is a dwarf of Kraggodan.
So what if I were to say that my name is Jessup Elfheim of Kraggodan?
I sense a kinship from the dwarf. I sense no kinship from you.
Well, we could be friends.
Well,
Friendship is not kinship.
Is there someone I could speak to inside to let them pass?
Perhaps, if you were to be granted permission, we would let them pass.
Okay, who would? It's been a while since I've been here. Who would give permission for that?
We answer to either the prince, the princess, the king, or the royal archivist.
Oh boy, those are very high positions.
Oran,
okay.
are you
I'm
friends
not
with them, right?
I am not.
A long-lost brother to the prince or something?
Nope.
The royal archivist patrols Vaultway. He is not far.
Well, there you go.
Well, yes, if you could point me in his direction. One of you, maybe?
Godspeed, Oran. Kieran will just slap you on the
Yep.
back.
Oh, yeah, guys, just wait here a moment. Let me, dwarven politics and whatnot.
I
Wait,
understand.
here, Owen.
Oh, yes.
1 sec before you go. Now, because you're gonna have to ask for permission, maybe they don't recognize you much. Just make sure you speak with a light less gruff in your voice and sound very sincere.
Oh, let
It's
me
just
try it. How's this? Is this better?
Oh, Oran, here. And he'll pull out the dwarven crown that we found back in the pool. He'll be like, well, it's worth a shot. Maybe you can show him this and, I don't know, maybe it's a crown they lost.
Oh, yeah, part
while
of that.
ago.
So Jessup does omnipresent mentor and attempts to give Oran a bonus to his diplomacy checks.
Ooh, what's the bonus?
+4. It just goes based off my inspired competence, so it's +4. So you have that until I sleep or I give my bonus to someone else.
Okie dokie.
And I have to use 4 rounds of my performance.
Just give me a couple minutes. And...
Orin, come here.
Oh, goodness. Guys, I'm just going to talk to someone. Maybe calm down.
We have faith in you.
Or it's like, I literally live here, guys.
I live here. I'm a citizen.
Gideon's laughing, and he puts his hand on his shoulders. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. You'll be fine.
Oh, excellent.
I don't have anything to say. I just
Thanks for the
thought it
pep
was funny. You won't have shield other, but I'll see you in a bit, Orin.
We're just going to see Gideon start bleeding until you get out of the radius, at least.
Yeah, so as you approach, they would open the iron gate and let you pass.
He'll look back and give him the kind of the thumbs up.
Kieran's going to whisper to Jessup, I don't think he's ever going to come back.
Yeah, so how does that teleport thingy work again?
Yeah, I mean, if worse comes to worse, we'll just go back to Long Shadow.
I'm home, and that's all you hear him scream as he sprints down the hallway.
I think he's excited.
He rips off his clothes as he goes.
He does look to get naked. You're not wrong.
And he's now been banished from Kraggodan. Just like Hurst was from
They're like,
Scout.
oh no, the crazy guy's back. Who let him
You're
in?
crazy nudist. We banished him.
Orin doesn't we don't realize that he still has the face paint on, so he still looks like a Duergar.
Duergar.
Oh, yeah.
Kraggodan.
So as you pass by the iron gate, they would close it behind you, and you find yourself in a long tunnel, or I guess hallway, of exquisite dwarven architecture that you see at the very, very far end. Another iron gate, much smaller though, and then on either side of you there are several dozen small doors on each side of this hallway. And the guardian here that was speaking to you before says, "Go past the iron gate and he will find you."
Oh, okay.
You progress down this tunnel to the other side where the iron gate is. And
Whee!
if you were to go to push on it, it doesn't look like this one's locked. It's just a closed doorway that you can open if you choose to do so.
Yeah.
Okay.
They told me to, so that's what I'm gonna do.
So you open that, and I will reveal a little bit more of the next chamber here. And then I will reveal this.
Ah! It's a trap.
So the pathway from the ascent chamber that you were in leads directly into Kraggodan's Vault Way, which you would know specifically, Oran, was once the lowest level of the city. It was full of bustling shops and warm homes. It was, however, abandoned after an incident centuries prior unleashed all manner of planar monsters upon the dwarves. The area of the Sky Citadel was later reconstructed as a secure maze of vaults and ossuaries to store family bones and relics of Kraggodan's history. The maintenance entrance emerges past 4 of 7 massive iron doors that guard further pieces of dwarven lore, and between each of these doors are dozens of smaller stone doors leading into various family crypts. So you're passing all of these as you walk down towards this second gate here. However, as you exit this second gateway, exiting the maintenance entrance proper, you find that you are immediately surrounded by half a dozen dwarves that seem to be waiting for you. They are dressed in resplendent dwarven plate mail. I'll actually show you the image I found for these guys.
Well, it's
Ooh.
pretty resplendent.
I'd take some of that.
It's pretty nice.
That's kind of what Oran's stone plate probably looks like, though.
It's actually remarkably similar. Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. So you see all of these. You also see two other figures here. There's one. And then
Where's
the
her
other.
beard?
Carburton. He has tiny little writing on his shoulder pads. That's amazing. They look like the odes from Warhammer.
Yeah. So you are immediately surrounded by half a dozen dwarves, all but one of which ready their weapons in your direction. You see one of these dwarves, a female dressed also in this resplendent dwarven plate mail, squints at you and stares intently at you. You can see her eyes emit a spark of magical energy, and then after a moment you see the tension slightly leave her face and she lowers her weapon. And then she says, "I detect no evil intent. Lower your weapons for now, but stay watchful. We may not yet need to stain the stones with blood." The sole unarmed dwarf amidst this group, wearing red silken robes and an ornate headband, and carrying a staff upon which sits a small creature, makes several exasperated noises before speaking. And as he waves his hands in emphasis, the bespectacled creature upon his staff mimics his movements almost flawlessly. This robed man says, "Identify yourself. What business has led you to trespass on the ancient stones of the great sky citadel of Kraggodan, and in Vault Way, no less? And how did you come to be here?"
Well, I'm Oran Grimbane. I'm from Kraggodan. So I'm quite familiar with this area. I knew it existed. I'm traveling with a mixed party of different people that we're we've been fighting the Iron Legion, and we had been given to think that they were looking for a valuable artifact that might be somewhere near or around or in Kraggodan, and we had hoped to try and beat them to acquiring it.
There are others with you?
There are, and actually, I came looking to get permission to allow them to enter the city. I spoke to the two ancestor guards up there, and they said that they wouldn't allow them to enter. That I would have to get your permission. As a son of Kraggodan, I trust them wholeheartedly and would take responsibility for them. They're good people, trustworthy people, and they've fought many of our hated enemy, and they've done great to save countless lives against the Iron Fang Legion. They're no threat to Kraggodan. If anything, they're allies to Kraggodan.
Well, if Drago and Calhoun let you pass, then you must truly be a son of Kraggodan. Very well. He turns to the female dwarf there and says, "Kolga, if you would bring some of your men with us, I would like to speak with these others and decide what to do with them." And she nods and kind of motions to four of the others around you, leaves two of them here, and the other six follow you back to the rest of the group. And so the three of you who are standing out here waiting, you see maybe a couple minutes go by, and eventually the iron gates open again, and out comes Oran and then six other dwarves, all dressed in stone plate, carrying axes and shields. And the robed individual kind of steps forward and says, "Oran here has told me that you are traveling companions of his, seeking entrance to Kraggodan. I would like to ask you your business. I've heard something from him, but I'd like to hear you as well."
Sure. Jessup normally speaks for our group. He can tell you.
So, just asking as a player, there was something that we had found that was leading us to Kraggodan.
The Onyx Key is what we're looking for, right?
We're
Yeah.
looking for that artifact. What did he say?
That artifact. Yeah.
No. So, well,
Right?
okay.
No?
To reiterate some of the details of the story so far, you know that the Iron Fang Legion has been making extraordinarily supernatural progress in their campaign against Nirmathos. They have somehow managed to cover distances that an army normally would take months to travel. You have assumed that it has something to do with these towers that they can somehow spontaneously create out of the ground and just summon their armies out of. When you were in Long Shadow, you actually witnessed one of these towers be made firsthand. Somebody plunged something into the ground, some shard of onyx into the ground, and just a tower appeared. And then Iron Fang Legion just came pouring out. After you had gotten to that camp and took a closer look at it, you saw that there were dwarven runes, and then even more ancient runes in Terran, on this onyx tower. And the dwarven runes had mentioned it was like a kind of an exhalation of praise towards Kraggodan. Then that kind of led you to thinking about Kraggodan. You're like, if we want to learn about this artifact that the Iron Fang Legion has been using in their campaign and see if there is any way to counter it, we probably need to go to Kraggodan to figure out what this artifact is, assuming that it came from Kraggodan.
So we're looking for intelligence.
You're looking for intelligence, yes.
Yeah. Information on this artifact and how to make it stop.
And in the chamber of the Naga, you also saw some dwarven artifacts, not artifacts, but like frescoes. Like,
Did Oran ever roll to see if he knew anything about the Onyx Key?
you don't know anything about the
Don't know
Onyx
anything.
Key.
You don't. Just stop.
Fair enough. Does the archivist?
You don't know. But in that Naga chamber, you also saw depictions of the quest for Sky, and you saw depictions of the tower as well. So you were led to believe that the dwarves had some artifact that allowed them to make their quest for Sky, and the Iron Fang Legion is either using this artifact or has this artifact or something similar. You're really not sure. You're just trying to make sense of how things are happening at the moment, really.
And also the one handout that we got from supposedly Xanathura, I think it was her journal or something, after we beat the simulacrum, it talked about going to Kraggodan's furnace, and at the end she talked about how she would devour 100 hobgoblins to lay coils on the Onyx Key. So
Yes. So you do have notes from her journal that indicate that something like 2 or 3 years ago, she and a select squad of hobgoblins successfully made their way to Kraggodan to take something.
Okay,
Mhm.
I thought that was much more recent. I didn't realize.
No,
Okay,
so
it was
that
a
kind
long
of
time
like
ago.
putting that together in your head, that pouch of masterwork tools was probably years ago that got left behind when they infiltrated and took whatever it is that they took.
It's all coming together now.
Now Jessup gets it. So yeah, when the archivist asks him, Jessup will, it's actually quite the story if you got a moment, but to summarize it up, we're fighting the Iron Fang Legion up top, and they have some magical artifact that we believe somehow was derived from ancestors of Kraggodan, that they could plunge some shards into the ground and create some giant pillars that they can pull troops out of, kind of like some sort of teleportation mechanism. We got a close look to it, saw some ruins of Kraggodan, and kind of wanted to make our way here to see if we can find somebody to make some sense of it, because they're wreaking some havoc. If you didn't know, it's bad.
As you continue speaking and you're talking about all of this, the red-robed dwarf kind of squints in suspicion and maybe a hint of surprise. And he looks over to the female dwarf and he says, "Kolga, if you would check them out real quick." And she nods, and again, she squints at all of you, and you can see a spark of magical energy emit from her eyes.
Kieran's like, I'm used to the ladies checking me out.
Yeah, that's chemistry. Right there. That's the spark you see.
Almost like she's detecting evil.
Yeah, Kieran's a dwarf now.
Yeah.
And just checking, none of you are evil aligned, correct?
That you know of.
Roll sense motive.
At the moment, no.
I mean, what's on our character sheet, or what we hope to at the end of this campaign?
What would a detect alignment paladin spell?
Oh, well, I've been
detect?
using the Wand of Undetectable Alignment, so I'm just true neutral.
I think I actually give off an aura of chaotic good.
Jessup is also
Okay.
chaotic good.
Chaotic good?
Nope, neutral good.
Yeah, that's
Lawful
what I thought.
good.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
So she nods and says, "Yes, I don't detect any evil intent." And he some of the suspicion drains from his face. All right. Well, it sounds like we have a lot of things to talk about. For the time being, come with me. We will take you up to the mountain hold. We will take you to the Temple of Trud, and I will meet with Prince Gorm Greathammer, and we will decide what we want to do about this. Yes, for now, come with me. We will figure this out.
Zoom.
So the two guardians, Drago and Calhoun, they let you pass, and so I will give you some exposition here. This is knowledge that all of you would have regarding Kraggodan. The Sky Citadel of Kraggodan stands atop the peaks of the Mindspin Mountains in southern Nirmathos, one of only 10 such marvels of dwarven engineering in existence. Kraggodan also bears the mantle of being one of but 5 Sky Citadels to still rest in dwarven hands. The soaring architecture wrought by Kraggodan's masons is visible from across the southern hills of Nirmathos and well into the plains of northern Malthun. Stern visages of long-dead dwarven monarchs stare out across the lands, a mere sampling of Kraggodan's unmatched dwarven engineering, which has only grown more impressive since its initial completion millennia ago. Kraggodan exists as a bastion of dwarven culture and society. Separate from the strife-prone dwarven holds in the Five Kings Mountains, the Sky Citadel is often remembered for its contribution to the Shining Crusade, when its soldiers took up arms besides the armies of Avestan's humans to defy the depredations of the Whispering Tyrant. Today, Kraggodan bears the brunt of an ongoing siege with the nearby nation of Malthun. The conflict consists of numerous forays in which the Malthuni forces will march into the upper peaks of Kraggodan, only to break apart when the dwarves retreat into the mountain, and then Kraggodan's stubborn citizens show no sign of acquiescing. In the aftermath of every Malthuni attack, it takes days before the dwarves just return back to their spots and open up markets again. So it's just a back and forth that's making no progress. As you guys are led past Voltway, again, you see, much like Oran, you see these massive iron doors and then smaller stone doors, dozens upon dozens of these, leading into various crypts and reliquaries and all sorts of things. And you are led by these 8 or so dwarves directly to the exit of Voltway. And as the iron doors that guard Voltway open and allow you to enter Kraggodan's interior city, you find yourselves in a large open cavern of iron-rich stone. Both metal and stone are prominent in the architecture around you, with the two materials often interwoven in unique displays that highlight the dwarven acumen for such craftsmanship. Immense bronze braziers hang from the cavern's ceiling on great iron chains, burning with a bright but warm glow. This light then reflects off of a multitude of grain-sized quartz gems embedded into the stone above, providing this entire cavern with the same illumination as a distant sun. So even though you are completely underground, it's perfectly lit in this entire massive chamber. Even were these lights to be quenched, the lambent glow from the lava far below the city would be enough to still see faintly throughout this area. And I will move you to the map of Kraggodan's mountain hold.
The Shining Crusades, the Knights of Ozim were involved in that too, weren't they?
Yes, the Shining Crusade, I believe Iomade was a big player in that. And it was a surprise to most people that the dwarves joined in.
Because normally they remain neutral in most conflicts, and they had come in to the aid in this one, right?
Yep.
That was the whole story there.
So again, a massive, massive chamber. This entire city is inside of this chamber, and the lights above you are like a sun that is reflected off of the gems. And you can see from your slightly elevated position, there are like cliff faces on either side of this area, and that's what leads down, presumably, into the lake of lava below. You start it here to the far left in Vault Way. You see that chamber here?
Yep.
Okay. So you exit that building and you take in these marvelous sights. And you are led forward through another set of gates, and then further forward to a split in the road, and they take you left, and you go upwards until you eventually make it here to Trud's stronghold. Any of you with knowledge religion can roll a knowledge religion if you'd like.
Wow. I am so religious, guys. I'm so religious.
Yeah,
I'm
Oran,
a
I'm probably
great
going to give
cleric.
this to you for free.
Oh, come on!
Come on, I roll a 36, so you give it to this guy for free. What? Because he's a dwarf? Because he worships Torag?
Because he's from Kraggodan.
Kieran should get it then. He's a dwarf.
Yeah, because you are from Kraggodan and a dwarf, Oran, I'd say that you know this just by default. Gideon, you definitely know this. Jessup, you're not as familiar. But the two of you recognize that the female dwarf that's leading you, her armor bears the insignia of the dwarven god Trud, Trudd, and that is the lawful good dwarven god of bravery, strength, and defense. So yes, these Kraggodan defenders, led by Kolga of Trud and Royal Archivist Carberton Lightbrand, who would have introduced himself as you were walking, they lead you to the Temple of Trud. And as you enter this temple, they take you to a room, and Carberton says, wait here, rest, and I will meet with the prince and see how he would like to handle this incident. Yes, I will be back in maybe an hour or so, I'm not sure. I don't know how long of a discussion this is going to be. But anyways, wait here and I will return and we will decide the next steps.
That's all right. I'm sure we're understanding and you can take your time.
And as he leaves, Kolga kind of stays with you and she continues to kind of interrogate you. And she says, I'm curious, how did you come to be where you were? That maintenance tunnel hasn't been used in years, and it opens up just to the Darklands.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where we came from. Lots of walking. Lots of fighting.
Yeah, it was a long time that we were down there.
Interesting. Would it be possible, do you think, to chart on a map where you came from? For defensive purposes, I'd like to know any entry points and where they lead out to.
Don't we have a map, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, here. Take a look at this. And he'll pull out the map that we got.
Thank you.
Now, don't get confused. I was getting confused a little bit. You know, we're near Hagegraph, or we were heading in the direction of Hagegraph, not Fellstrock, which is what I had originally thought. We would have been in a much different location, but yeah. And then he'll show them show her kind of where we entered the Darklands, more or less, and then where we're at right now.
Gideon will also be helpful and discuss how they were able to get the way through and what kinds of things they could do to make it more protected.
Yeah, you're talking to her about this, and as you do, you can see that her brow kind of furrows in concern, and she says, I admit I wasn't sure that that our tunnels connected directly to the Long Walk and the Durgar Empire. That is something that we will have to keep in mind in the future. Perhaps that entrance needs to be more closely guarded from now on. And she just continues talking with you for a while. About half an hour or so passes, and then Carberton Lightbrand returns, and he says, well, I've informed the prince. He's going to call upon a few other individuals and have a discussion. It might be another hour or two. He sent me back here just to make sure that you were well looked after in the meantime. It shouldn't be terribly long. We'll receive a messenger at some point here, but until then, you'll be in good company, at least. And Carberton, as you're waiting, would be very eager to talk to you. And after maybe a little bit, you get the sense that it's kind of maybe turning into like a pseudo lecture kind of a thing. On like the history of Kraggodan, he says, yes, I'm sure you are vaguely aware, but about 2 years ago, Morthune had the gall to break into our Sky Citadel. our most sacred historical repository, the Reliquary of Ascension, and they made off with one of our ancient relics, the Onyx Key, an artifact of incredible cultural significance. And we sent diplomats to demand an explanation from Governor Marquin Tildas, but he imprisoned them. And this led to an escalation. We sent a punitive force towards Morthune, but we were repelled, and they have besieged us ever since. Of course, Kraggodan can weather a siege such as this for 2 centuries at least, so Morthune has no hope of victory against us in the long run, but I see no easy short-term solution, besides Morthune simply growing bored and leaving.
Well, that said, the Onyx Key was taken by Morthune how many years ago?
2 years, thereabouts, a little over 2 years ago now.
Gideon exchanges a glance with Jessup. Recent, then.
Yes, very recent, comparatively to other major events. It has been the most talked about event amongst the upper elite. We haven't made it a public announcement as to what specifically they took yet, but the populace is aware that Morthune has... they're aware of the reason behind the siege, I guess you could say.
Do we as players know that the Iron Fang Legion has ties with Morthune?
Yes, you guys are well aware that the Iron Fang Legion, its origins were as a mercenary group, a monster mercenary group employed by Morthune. However, 2 years prior to the beginning of this campaign, it had disappeared. So basically one of the first things that you guys as players were able to do when the hobgoblins burst into town and that very first combat and you identified the Iron Fang Legion symbol, you recognized, I think Oran actually was the one who recognized maybe, that the Iron Fang Legion was a mercenary group for Morthune that hadn't been heard of for years, 2 years or so. They just disappeared.
Elwood certainly did.
Yeah, along with many other monster mercenary groups, they had just disappeared. So suddenly they just came back out of nowhere. So you're aware that there is definitely a connection between Iron Fang Legion and Morthune, but that connection has sort of been cold for a while.
Well, and we as players and as characters know kind of a missing piece then. The Onyx Key, Morthune doesn't have it anymore. The Iron Fang Legion is acting as an independent organization now, and they have it.
That is information that you would have, yes. But it seems that Carburton and Kraggodan as a whole don't believe that to be the case.
Could you elaborate a bit on what the Onyx Key does or is?
Unfortunately, I don't have specific detail. The Onyx Key is one of the many ancient artifacts of dwarven lore that has sort of passed on to myth, to be honest. Other than myself and a few other key scholars, not too many people even know of its existence, to be perfectly honest. My studies indicate that it has something to do with Kraggodan's travel. It sped up their travel in some way. I'm not sure exactly what form that took, if it was mere teleportation or what it might have been. I have a vague understanding, but it's a sparse details.
That makes sense. It's done the same thing for the Legion. We have vague details, but we don't understand exactly how. They've been able to campaign across near Mythos far more than an army could travel in a day, or weeks for that matter.
Was the Onyx Key the only thing they came in to take?
We are not entirely sure yet. We have begun efforts to catalog everything in Voltway to verify that nothing else was taken. The Onyx Key is the only thing that we are currently aware of.
It's taken you more than 2 years to catalog it?
We passed by Voltway. I'm sure you saw how many vaults there are. We have thousands upon thousands of artifacts that we need to catalog. And unfortunately, we have precious few individuals who are given authority to actually catalog them. Myself and, well, basically myself. I'm the only one who really knows enough to be able to identify most of the things we have in there. It's been so many centuries that most people don't even know what we have stored.
Did you guys have to fight the Legion and an extension of Morthune when they came to siege to take it?
No, they did not take it during the siege. This was actually prior to the siege. It was a small elite group, we believe, that came in, maybe half a dozen members of their military snuck in to take it. We didn't fight anyone. We heard the commotion of battle, but by the time we had gotten there, they had made off. It seemed that there might have been a little bit of infighting and such, but those, what we found were remnants.
And how long were they in Kraggodan, or at least in the vault?
We are not sure. It couldn't have been more than maybe a couple hours. We have regular patrols. I mean, our security has increased now more than it was at the time, but I mean, we did still have patrols that came by every now and then, twice a day or so.
So you're saying a vault that's so massive that's taken over 2 years to catalog everything, a band of individuals were able to sneak in less than a couple hours, find the exact thing they were looking for, and then took it?
Yes, that appears to be the case. I don't know if they simply had some sort of divination that led them directly to that specific item, or if they simply went into that particular vault and grabbed whatever they considered to be the most valuable that they could see. I don't know if it was intended or coincidental, but they certainly made off with something of great import.
This is an insensitive question to ask, but of the raiding party that were able to swipe the Onyx key, were they all human or humanoid, or were there any more monstrous types among them?
Actually, if you would like to see it yourself, we can arrange to have you view the evidence, if you'd like.
Evidence has survived for 2 years?
Oh, yes, equipment and such.
Sure. Take a peek at it for sure.
If you're willing to let us, yeah?
Oh, yes, absolutely. As long as I and a few others here are there to oversee you and make sure that you don't touch anything, it should be fine.
Okay, we will keep the touching to a minimum. You got it.
Lead the way.
All right. And then he takes you to, it's actually still in this same building, but he takes you to another room that has a series of containers, chests. And as he opens them up, you can see inside of these chests there are a number of items. And he begins explaining. He says, when we investigated the intrusion, as I said, any members that were there must have fled. And our investigations, unfortunately, were cut a bit short. We were attacked by a clan of Gugs that must have been let in when they broke through our defenses and left all of the doors wide open. So we weren't able to do as thorough a search as we could, but we reclaimed everything that we saw immediately there. As you can see in these chests, we have a series of Molthuni coins, some equipment left behind from the thieves as they fled. You can see there's a few weapons here, and our magical divinations were able to trace that all of this equipment belongs to Molthun. We have recognized it, that the previous wielders of these items were in fact human soldiers. Altogether, you can see there's 3 long swords, a trio of cloak pins, there's a scrap of fabric over there from a military uniform, and then again about 516 gold of Molthuni print. All of it rather implicating of Molthun's entrance. I imagine had the Gugs not been on their tail, and had they not been in such a hurry to make it out, they probably would have cleaned up after themselves quite a bit better, but I guess a little bit of luck was on our side.
It's a lot of evidence to be left behind.
Did you find any, like you said there might have been infighting, were any dead that you found, bodies or anything?
As I said, unfortunately, we weren't able to investigate as much as we would have liked. We saw these items in the entry chamber. Again, as I believe they were fleeing from the Gugs, they probably, in terror, had some of their items might have been torn off of them or what, I'm not entirely sure, but the Gugs were still present when we entered, and they attacked us as well, so we were actually forced to retreat and close up the Reliquary of Ascension, and it has been closed since. We did send in another group to investigate, but unfortunately we never heard from them again, so we have hence decided to leave it closed for the time being until we can get a better grasp of this whole situation with Molthun and find a decent way to clear out the vault.
Well, about Molthun, what was Teldas's reaction again when you confronted him?
I did not personally confront him, so I don't know exactly what the specifics of the conversation were and what led to the escalation, but ultimately he imprisoned our diplomats for whatever reason it might have been, I'm not sure.
So you never heard back from any of them?
No, we never heard back from them. We never heard much of anything. That's what led us to send out that punitive force, and then things just sort of escalated from there. One thing I will say, as you guys are looking over all these things, you can, if you would like, make some knowledge checks on these items. So knowledge nobility, if you wanted to. After that check, we'll have a second knowledge check here, so we'll see what the first one gives us.
Do you know how long it's been since we kind of woke up to now?
Since you woke up to now, it's been probably 3 to 4 hours of...
So I'll
Yeah,
just
probably
recast
4.
Investigative Mind, and then I will do some checks. So you said knowledge nobility?
Nobility is the first one, yeah.
Gideon's not very noble.
I got a 20. Oran got a 17.
Are we able just to take 20 on these?
No. Yeah, and you do have to have ranks in it.
Jessup can, but Jessup's not going to. 25.
So all of you except Gideon are able to identify that the markings on the cloak pins and the weapons definitely belong to the military of Malthun, 100%. You can then make a subsequent knowledge history or knowledge nobility check if you would like.
So another knowledge.
Another check, but this one can be either history or nobility, your
Ew.
choice.
Well, I only have nobility, so I will roll a 13, which is a natural 4.
Look at this boy with his 31.
Get ready for some load dumping here, gents.
So Jessup with a 31, you do identify this. So Jessup, you're looking over these, and you notice that it's sort of strange. The styles of the insignia on these items belong to a unit. Actually, this makes sense that you would know this as a ranger. You encountered the Molthuni forces quite often. They belong to a Molthuni unit that was disbanded over 7 years ago, well before the supposed Volt intrusion. And you recall that disbanded equipment is typically sold off to mercenary units within Molthun. So that's information that you gain.
And then I don't know if it makes a difference while we're looking through these. I think I have Jessup has the glasses where you can see like forgeries and stuff. I don't know if that pertains to this particular, but just
Nothing appears to be forged. Like, this seems to be genuine articles.
so. This is interesting, fellas. So these are indeed Malthuni, but this was actually from a regiment that was disbanded 7 or so years ago. So my hunch here is the Legion had these old disbanded items, and obviously it placed these, which was my hunch initially, so that it might have thrown off their trail and put the blame solely on Malthun. I am not saying that they're good guys, but in this instance, I don't know if they necessarily were the bad guy.
Carberin kind of looks over to you with a kind of a sideways glance. He says, "A very astute assumption. However, I suspect it might not be quite so complex. I would assume that I'm sure that you are aware as well. Molthun tends to resell these to their mercenary groups, and Molthun employs a great deal of mercenary regiments, and whether or not the infiltrators were from the direct Molthuni military or were a mercenary group, either way they were employed by Molthun, so it doesn't necessarily absolve Molthun of any wrongdoings. This Legion you speak of, are you for sure aware that it is in no way related to Molthun? If it is simply a mercenary group, then it doesn't seem necessarily out of the question that they would use mercenaries rather than their own soldiers."
We do know that, though, for sure, right? Legion is acting 100% independently. We know that.
I mean, you 100% think so. Like, I don't think you've found anything that says, like, a letter from the general of the Legion saying, "I'm no longer working for Molthun."
Right.
Like, you haven't found anything like that, but, like, you don't have any reason to think that they would still be involved. So, like, it's probably an assumption on your part, but, like, you'd be pretty confident in that assumption. But you would also probably immediately realize that it's gonna be difficult to make an argument.
Right. Well, we have a lot of pieces that point to that direction, though. The Iron Fang Legion was disbanded 2 years ago.
It was never disbanded. It just sort of disappeared.
Yeah. Not officially.
Like, there was no thing saying, like, we're getting rid of our monster regiments. It's just like they stopped showing up. Like, normally the monster regiments would be present for, like, all of the Molthuni incursions into Nirmathos. And after, like 2 years or so ago, they just sort of stopped showing up for some reason.
Oh, I don't like the way that this plot thread is going. I do, but Glad I'm playing Gideon.
Well, have you had a thorough look at the evidence here? I'm sure it's rather convincing, is it not?
Yeah, we're still rummaging through. Is there any more checks to make here?
No, I don't believe so. I think we've covered most of the stuff here of the evidence that we have. If you would like, again, I'm perfectly fine if you'd like to cast your own divination magic on these items, but again, we have done thorough divination checks, and they have all shown that human soldiers from Malthun carried these items, and that these items are in fact genuine. There seems to be very little room for doubt.
Now, with these divination spells that you are casting, I mean, how long does it... I mean, how do you know for a fact that this was carried by human? Let's say, just for instance, in my theory, they were carried by Malthun soldiers 7+ years ago when they were part of the actual military. When they were disbanded, sold off, somebody put them in a pouch, never wore them, but dropped them. Could indeed that magic then be looking back to many, many, many years ago? Or you know instinctively that these were worn by humans literally 2 years ago when they besieged your city?
I suppose the magic would... The magic simply shows who the last wielder was, regardless of time. But again, I would say that it seems rather extra convoluted to assume that it was some undercover job to implicate Malthun rather than them just sending one of their many mercenary groups that they use very frequently.
So, and with all due respect, you're correct. We really don't have proof to show you otherwise. But do you have proof to prove that either?
Well, I would say that the divination that we've done is, again, quite thorough, and what you're saying here, while potentially plausible, is just a theory, and in my personal opinion, it seems far less likely.
When you divined these, they showed humans?
Yes, as I said, the previous wielders of these items were recognized as human soldiers from Muldoon.
What do you make of this, Kieran?
Honestly, this is way outside of my wheelhouse. I'm not sure.
Wait. Could you divine a tool pouch that we found just outside the door that we used to get to Kraggodan? We think that perhaps it might have been used in the raid by one of the people that raided. Would you be able to divine anything from that?
Hey, that's a good idea, Oran.
I suppose we could, but I mean,
worried... it's just more evidence.
Well, yes, but I worry that it wouldn't get us the results that you might think. If I'm not mistaken, one of you has probably picked it up and has been holding it.
Yeah, and then that's used it. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
So Oran's been Malthuni the whole time. I'm just kidding. I didn't say that.
You're the one that picked him up and used him, Jessup.
I had my own thieves kit. Joke's on you. I didn't use them.
Oh, it's Kieran!
Oh no, it's Kieran.
Kieran was Malthuni the whole time!
We can absolutely cast some divination magic on it if you'd like, but again, I'm about 90% sure that it's just going to show one of you.
Well, is there any way that we can maybe go back down to the vaults and look around to where they stole the item, see if maybe there's something that was missed?
That is... well, that is above my authority. That is something that the even-handed synod will have to figure out. And again, this conversation is going on. Eventually, a messenger would actually come back to the stronghold here, and Carberton would step out, talk to the messenger, and then he would come back in and say, he kind of sizes, okay, well, we've received word from the prince. You will be granted the ambassador's quarters in the Great Hammer Bastion for the time being. I have been assigned as your escort, and I will be seeing to your needs as well as informing you of your current political situation, though I already did that. You will be given permission to move freely throughout Kraggodan's mountain hold, but you are forbidden from entering the transport lifts to the upper fastness due to the ongoing siege. However, anywhere that you would like to go in the mountain hold, you must have an escort at all times, either myself or a pair of defenders from the temple here. In 3 days' time, the even-handed synod will convene, and they will meet with you and hear your case, and they will decide your fate and the future of this situation you speak of.
That doesn't apply to me, correct?
You will still be a part of the council, but yeah, I mean, you're a member of Kraggodan. You haven't trespassed or anything as far as we're concerned.
Oh, how are we trespassing? We were invited in.
Oh, you were invited in, but you trespassed to get to the gate.
Oh, okay. My apologies.
Yes, you were on Kraggodan soil, and to be honest, Kolga is a little bit, she's a bit on edge at the moment. We haven't had anybody coming through that way in a while. I don't think she expected that opening to lead where it led. I don't think that you will be imprisoned or anything. It's not that bad. And you do have a member of Kraggodan with you speaking on your behalf, so I don't expect anything poor will happen. But the council will simply verify your claims. They will ask for more detailed information and just make sure that everybody understands the situation and see if we can't glean anything useful moving forward. That is all. I don't think there's anything that you need to worry about.
About trespassing, I think one could reasonably argue that we had only passed so far as the curtilage of the town. We didn't go anywhere we shouldn't have. Just saying. Probably could argue that the court of law.
I mean, you could attempt that, yes, but you could also argue that being near the entrance of Voltway, which is technically the most precious aspect of the entirety of Kraggodan, is worse than having if you had come through the front door.
It's clear signage. You need clear signage. You can't. I'm not gonna get into a fake legal debate, but.
But yes, as I said, you have 3 days. You can explore the town as you wish, as long as myself or some others are with you to go around. Feel free to ask me any questions you'd like. I am the Royal Archivist. Again, I know plenty of Kraggodan's history and our society, and I can answer any sorts of questions you might have about the dwarves here of Kraggodan, how we live our lives, and the historical events that led up. Actually, the history is my specialty. I know quite a bit about it.
I will be honest with you. I'm very interested in that, but we're still kind of curious on these items. What exact divinations or spells did you have cast over them, if you don't mind my asking?
Absolutely, yes. And he goes through a list. Unfortunately, I don't. I'll just tell you kind of out of game here. The book does not give specific spells. The book merely says magical divinations traced all of the recovered equipment to Malthone and recognized human soldiers as the last to wield them. And then also says later on down here, it gives me a thing here saying any divination magic to determine who last held any given item, yada yada yada. It doesn't give me any specific divination spells, but like you could cast your own divination spells if you'd like.
Out of game, it doesn't change much from their perspective. Malthune is still laying siege. Whatever events in the past led them up to this.
Yes, you would probably assume, even if you used divination to prove that these items were somehow actually wielded by like hobgoblins from the Iron Fang Legion,
Wouldn't matter.
that probably would not do anything. They'd be like, oh, well, okay, then they sent the Iron Fang Legion mercenary group in. That literally changes nothing.
It doesn't, because Teldusk has still committed a war crime. So it's a declaration of war to not return diplomats.
Yeah, so you think that you would have to somehow prove that there's no link between the two when there is kind of a link between the two. It's a tricky situation. But yeah, it seems like it'll be difficult.
Well, even still, it's like the big part of it is it doesn't really matter because Malthune still behaved quite poorly in response to the shakeout, so it doesn't change the political situation and it doesn't help us advance our plot at all either.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, you're technically only getting one side, but still.
Yeah, I recognize that out of game, but I mean, from our characters' perspectives, Nirmathi, born and bred, and somebody else is two outsiders who don't have the other side of the story so much. I don't have any specific things that I think we should do.
Oh, Kieran's got a list of errands, so he would like perk up as soon as the archivist guy says that they're free to roam the city. He would request that he has his own escort because he's like, yeah, it's been quite a while since I've been in the city and I've got quite a list of things that I need to do. So if you could just lend me a couple of your guys, they don't mind just going around showing me the place. I've got a few things I would like to accomplish while we're here.
Have you been to Kraggodan before?
Nope, never been, but I'm sure it can't be that hard.
Oh,
And
you just meant a city in general.
Yes. Oh, yes. Right.
Okay.
Yes, I come from
Yes.
the city, so
I apologize. Yes, absolutely. I assumed. Yes, I thought you meant here specifically.
no, I'm sorry about that. No, it's been a while since I've been in a city, a proper city that has restaurants and shops and oh,
Yes. Well,
it's beautiful.
I mean, and he kind of looks to all of you and says, if you'd like, I would certainly be fine with giving you all a tour of the area. Or if only one or two of you are interested, that is absolutely fine.
Well, I do have one request before we go to a tour because I am extremely interested in that.
Right.
Do you have a bathhouse here in the city?
Oh yes, of course we have. It's actually powered by the lava below. It's a nice steamed sauna.
Oh, that's fantastic. He'll turn to the rest. All right, I'm treating all of you. We're going to a bathhouse. I don't know if you've ever been to one before. If you've ever enjoyed a spa treatment, it is to die for. So before we do any sort of touring, we all need to clean up a bit because it's been about 2 months since any of us have had a proper bath, I'm afraid. And speaking of, what's that guy's name again? Carburton?
Yes, Royal Archivist Carburton Lightbrand.
Carburton. I don't know how I should address him. Mr. Lightbrand? I don't know. Anyway.
Just call me Carburton. It's fine.
All right. The other thing I'd like to do if we're going to go to a bathhouse is I'd like to buy new clothes. I don't know if you could point me in the direction of where there might be clothes made for humans. I would like to treat us all to some new clothing since you can see, and he'll drop the illusion of his sleeves. I've lost my pants a bit, so I need new clothes.
Well, I mean, that's no berry picking Gideon, but yeah, that's looking pretty good.
Yeah, right. So I'd like to do that too. So definitely tours on the agenda, but I just want to make sure that we are not going to embarrass ourselves as we view this fine city that you have.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
I fully agree with that, Kieran, and just a the other two. You know, it's been tough the past few days and weeks. Been kind of at each other's throat a little bit. I think we need some team building. And since there's not much we can do... Are you okay?
Did a demon just come out of the earth? Like,
I mean...
what is happening?
No, nothing. It's nothing. It was not. Yes, team building sounds great.
I mean, are you okay? Well, what else are you going to do?
No, nothing.
You could stand around and wait and be grumpy, or we could go to a bathhouse and see Kieran's glistening abs.
I rather like the idea of going to a bathhouse. Not so much for Kieran's abs, but for a nice spritz. Why not?
The tea building.
Yes, yep. So bathhouse first, and then I would like to get a
real
haircut and a
Real
good
food.
shave. I've been neglecting that for a little bit, so I'd like to get my haircut. I want to
you
get...
you might struggle to find someone to shave you.
Well, no. I'm gonna.
City.
I'll purchase if they have a shaving kit. Otherwise, I can just use a dagger.
Again,
but
you're probably gonna have to use a dagger. You're in a dwarf
what do
city,
your
I
women
mean,
use? They've got to use something, right? That one lady didn't have a beard.
naturally hairless.
What? That's
Yes,
not what
they're
I've
just-
heard.
Just superior.
That's
You know,
there's no way. So all the stories I've heard are false.
I think you've been played a fool.
Anyway,
Jessup is going to take a 20 on Dwarven to know if that's true or not.
I like to think that when you mentioned the shaving kit, some of the dwarven guards around you kind of give like a weird look, like, what the heck? And then Cartman's like, oh, he's human. And they're like, oh.
what a filthy human.
Oran's over here like, you're not going to find a shaving kit in a dwarven city.
Carburton says, yes, I assure you all the things that you're looking for we can accommodate. While the vast majority of Kraggodan's citizenry is, in fact, dwarves, we do actually have a fairly large contingent of humans. There's about maybe 1,000 or so human inhabitants of our great sky citadel here, so you'll certainly find something for yourself.
Perfect. All right, so bathhouse first, haircut. I'd like to shave. I'd like to go somewhere and buy some new clothing. And there's no negotiation on this. I'm buying each of you a really nice fancy outfit, and we're going to go to the fanciest place that Kraggodan has for dinner. Wherever that is, whatever that is, we're going to do it. And then we've got some things that we need to buy and sell. And I've got another little errand of myself. If you've got a metal worker, I'm sure you do, you're dwarves. So if you could point me to your finest metal worker, I've got a commission I'd like to order and some things I'd like to do with my weapon. So
literally all of the dwarves in the room kind of start chuckling. And Cartman's like, do we have a metal worker? Oh, that was a good one. Yes.
I figured as much. But so yeah, that's my list, and let's have at it. First to the bathhouse. Everybody's gonna clean up.
Must we be watched all the time, or is there not any parts of the city that we could just go on our own?
You worried about going to the bathroom?
No, that's not it, Jessup.
Oh.
I'm afraid that until the Synod has given a ruling, they would prefer that you are under supervision at all times.
I mean, can't technically Oran give us supervision, being a dwarf of Kraggodan?
For the time being, unfortunately, he is going to be included amongst your group. Again, you are not criminals. You're not treated as criminals. You can go around freely. We just simply want to make sure that everything... Again, understand tensions are high. We are currently under siege. And while I don't think that you are any threat to us, you can understand that the leaders are... They don't understand the whole situation here. They're a bit on edge about your presence here. So that we're just being careful for a little bit.
Jessup will look at him and say, well, then I guess you'll go into the bathhouse with us.
We can assign separate guards if you want to go to different areas. That's fine.
Oh, no. You need to give us the tour and give us some more information.
I would really appreciate that if you could do that. That'd be really
Well, I'm used to a communal bath, so it doesn't bother me at all.
Yes, yep, that's what it is. So that's good.
that's what it is.
Jessup has no shame. Jessup sleeps with no pants. With
Can
friends.
confirm.
Close friends.
Yeah, with close friends.
Close friends and closer allies.
You said you wanted to go to the bathhouse first.
Yeah, I think that would be best. You see, we don't look all that good, and we probably don't smell very good. I mean, I'm pretty clean because I use magic for that, but the rest of them are pretty grungy, so I'd rather we clean that up first and then go shopping.
Thereafter, though, I am interested in the history of Kraggodan, and I'd be willing to listen to you.
God, there's nothing stopping us from having a conversation at the bathhouse.
Well,
Certainly not. It's the best place to have a conversation.
Jessup leans into Oran. I think his idea of the bathhouse is more for our benefit rather than his.
Yes, I think so.
Jessup takes like a whiff at Oran. I don't think you smell that bad.
Well, thanks. You don't smell bad either.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to this. Like hot springs and sauna. Oh, this is going to be fantastic.
I literally can't remember the last time I've seen you this excited.
This is almost a new side of you, Kieran. I've never seen you almost happy. That's all. I'm sorry.
Oh no,
I
that's
really
offensive.
I
I've
do
been happy
apologize.
before. But
Brief moments, yes.
This is my element. This is, I come from a big city and this is what I grew up with. This is what I'm comfortable with. I've missed this. I haven't been in a place like this in a very long time. And I just feel, even though I'm probably more out of place since this is a dwarven city, I just feel at home being in the city. And I'm very excited about this. It feels like it's been a long time coming, and part of me never actually thought we would get this far, especially since I died twice now. Fantastic.
Not to interrupt you, we will need to acquire a diamond at some point while in the city. I'm sure they have.
I'm sure we can get all to the shopping. I'm with Kieran on this. Let's not worry about any shopping tonight. I like Kieran's plan.
But Kieran, wouldn't it be weird not having the servants bathe you?
Oh. But yes, no, I think it's a good idea. We'll get cleaned up, we'll get ourselves some nice clothes, and we'll get ourselves a proper meal.
All right. Then if you would follow me. And he actually takes 2 other guards with him, so there's 3 of them in total, and they lead you down through the streets, and eventually you do come to the edge of the city here, closer to the entrance to the lava lake. And he takes you inside the large bathhouse here. And as you walk in and you get yourself situated, you can tell, as he said, it's a steam-powered hot bath. And you would have an entry fee. I'm trying to think if
We'll pay it.
he
Doesn't
would
even
pay
matter
for
what
you
it
or
is.
not.
Nope, we'll pay it. It's fine. We're loaded.
So yeah, I'm looking up the
Kieran would give up the dwarven crown for this.
I'm looking up the chart for lodging and services. So it looks like something like this would run each of you 1 gold.
Oh, dear heavens. All right, I'll mark off 4 gold.
Is this the reason why you were so upset that my negotiations went poorly, so that we didn't have extra money for this stuff?
We just forced the historian guy to come with us, but we don't pay for his bathhouse visit.
Oh no, I'm sorry. We can pay for his too. Yeah.
You have to come.
outside.
You have to come, but you have to sit there in your clothes.
Do they have little like milk vending machines? Is it a proper onsen?
Vending machines.
Yeah.
I don't think they have vending machines, but they would have refreshments.
Did you just ask for milk, Gideon?
Yeah, that's a really traditional thing to do.
Milk drinker.
No, it's yeah.
It's
a thing.
nug milk. Gug milk.
I don't know if I would want to drink milk in a hot spring.
Yeah, no, that does not sound appetizing.
That would curdle, dude.
Well, it'd be after normally, but yeah.
Although, if we're in Kraggodan, Kieran's probably not going to get wine. He'll probably get ale or whatever.
Ale, proper.
Whatever thick, bubbly brew they've got down here.
Right. Okay. So yeah, you go to the bathhouse there, and again, Carburton would be more than happy to start speaking on Kraggodan's history. And so I can start on what he's saying here, and if at any point in character you guys would ask him to stop, you can tell me to stop.
Okay.
Because he's got a couple paragraphs of history that he can tell you if you'd like to know
we're
it.
going to go through this uninterrupted.
Yeah.
So as you're walking through, and as you get to the bathhouse and you're all there in the steamy hot water, cleaning off all of the grung? I got like 3 words put together there. About 3 words just
We're
put
covered
together
in
there.
grung, fellas.
Gunk.
So many
Grunge.
things.
That's how bad it is. We have grung
Grung.
attached to us.
There's grunge, it's grung.
Yeah. So washing yourselves clean, Carburton, like he begins talking about something pretty simple, but it very quickly becomes like a history class. Like he very quickly goes like, while most dwarves pushed ever upward against the tide of orcs to reach greater heights during the legendary quest for Sky, not all clans partook in the initial endeavor. Some made fell pacts with the dark gods and eventually evolved into the Duragar, whom sounds like you are quite familiar.
Yeah, we met those ones.
Yes.
Right, we killed him too.
Good. They deserve it. While other dwarven clans simply embarked on their exodus at a later time. However, among the dwarves who remained in the Darklands was Kraggodan, who not only didn't climb to the surface, but he actively traveled in the other direction. Religion, including the Kraggodan prophecies that had precipitated the quest for Sky, was never as important to Kraggodan as the opportunity to build his own legend as one of our people's greatest explorers. In the ancient tradition of his dwarven forebears, Kraggodan hoped to reach a greater depth in the vaults of Orv than any previous expedition. It was this drive that led him to the Midnight Mountains, beneath the heart of Avestan, and there, an artifact that would forever change his path, the Onyx Key. Initially baffled by the otherworldly relic, Kraggodan spent months translating the strange glyphs, covering the runes that he found. Eventually, he gained knowledge on how to operate it, and it allowed him to travel great distances. Again, we don't know the exact specifics of how it worked.
Real shame about that. No.
Yes, most of it has passed into myths. It has been several millennia, I think, now, since we last used it. But anyways, though the quest for Sky had previously not interested Kraggodan, he realized that the potential of this artifact, it held great potential for his kin's quest, were he to use it to lead his clan efficiently and safely on its own late embarking exodus. He could earn renown far beyond anything gained by simply plumbing an unexplored cave in the Earth's gut. He used the artifact to quickly return to his clan hold far above the Midnight Mountains, and by the end of the year, minus 4,982 AR, the clan had set out for its prophesied new home on Galarian's surface. The relocation was complete in a mere fraction of the time any other clan needed to complete their quest for Sky, thanks in no small part to the Onyx Key. While not the first dwarves to see the surface, Kraggodan's followers moved at a pace unmatched by their kin. Though efficient, the journey was not devoid of conflict, and Kraggodan's clan encountered the same hostile orcs that had plagued so many other dwarves' journey. on the eve of their breaching the surface, the final battle between the dwarves and their orc nemesis took place, during which Kraggodan himself fought the orc chieftain who had tormented his people. While the dwarves won the day, the orcs exacted a high price. Among the bodies strewn across the floor of the massive, lava-illuminated cavern that served as the battlefield was that of Kraggodan. History laments that Kraggodan died mere minutes from the first openings to the surface sun that he'd been so driven to find. However, the dwarves pressed on, driving the orcs out of the mountains and naming their new home in honor of their martyred leader who'd led them to it. In minus 4,901 AR, the construction of Kraggodan's primary districts was complete. The people of the completed Sky Citadel expanded out into the territories of what would one day become Nirmathos, while keeping close to the Minespin Mountains.
Skin Mountains.
Yes, no, sorry. I get so excited when I talk about these things. I sometimes.
I can
slur my
imagine.
words.
To Kraggodan. It sounds like quite the explorer, for sure.
During this time, the dwarves' greatest allies were the similarly nascent settlement of Glimmerhold and the Sky Citadel of Goldukar in the land now known as the Hold of Belkzen. However, by minus 3,708 AR, the orcs of Belkzen had organized sufficiently to besiege and capture Goldukar. The few dwarven survivors of the catastrophic defeat retreated here to Kraggodan, and in fact, to this day, their descendants bitterly wait for a chance to retake their ancestral home. I am sure that you've heard of this before, but we dwarves, we hold our grudges long. And, well, in the intervening millennia, the dwarves here remained vigilant against an orc invasion that never came. Our military prepared, but never found itself called upon. We had long, if erratic, relations with the Kelid tribes, but when Taldor's armies of exploration arrived, particularly around 499 AR, we forged peaceful treaties with the newcomers, and the lands of modern Nirmathos were ceded to these new humans. We dwarves of Kraggodan found the idea of a buffer between us and Belkzen rather appealing. Many other dwarves resented our aloof nature and the distance that our inhabitants maintained from the rest of dwarven affairs, but nevertheless we kept ourselves apart from our distant kin for fear of suffering the same infighting that befell the Five Kings Mountains. Kraggodan readied for war again in 3203 AR, when the orcs of Belkzen aligned themselves with the Whispering Tyrant. The armies of Kraggodan proved instrumental in the defeat of Tarbefon's armies, despite, unfortunately, reducing the Sky Citadel's population to almost a third of its previous numbers. Having suffered incredible losses in achieving our victory, a bitter reminder of our own sacrifice millennia earlier, we dwarves have removed ourselves from most surface world politics, and unfortunately much of my current knowledge of political affairs is second-hand. But less than 200 years after the end of the Shining Crusade, the dwarves of the nearby Five Kings Mountains were devastated by an event known as the Rending. We here in Kraggodan hoped to avoid a similar fate. We eventually sought out powerful Fey allies in the nearby Fangwood Forest. The dwarves and Fey reached an accord, though specifics remained a closely guarded secret by both parties. But eventually, a force known as the Dark Blight corrupted the Fey, and all that we could do was erect runestones around the Fangwood to staunch the flow of maligned Fey from the Fangwood. And relations between us and them have not progressed ever since. And of course, more recently, in 4665 AR, an unexplained magical incident left King Borum Greathammer's eldest child, the scholar warrior Darund, encased in a prison of impenetrable crystal.
Real quick, I have an out-of-game question.
Yes.
So did our characters, does any of them remember the Blight, or are they all dead?
Kieran should know about the Blight. Vaguely.
He's the only one.
Vaguely.
Because who talked to the tree?
Jessup would know about the Blight.
Jessup
vaguely.
was there.
Yes.
Jessup talked
and
to the tree?
Kieran. Oran would only know that Theros had strong ties to the Blight. And unfortunately, I don't think Gideon knows squat.
No, he doesn't know a thing.
That's typical.
Typical. That's what happens when you bring in a late character to the party.
But yeah, you are not necessarily unfamiliar with the Blight. At this point, your party has an uninterrupted throughput throughout the entire story because Oran left when Kieran showed up. So one of you in this current party has been around at all points. So yes.
Got you. So we all have every knowledge collectively. We could arguably.
Basically, yeah. So he would continue. The scholar warrior Darund, encased in a prison of impenetrable crystal. Unable to free Darund and restore his heir to life, the king took the crystal into the citadel's deepest, most secure vault, actually in Vault Way. Not too far from the vault that Molthune broke into, in fact. He has since removed himself from governance in a period of extended mourning. Since that day, governance of Kraggodan has fallen to a select group of representatives known as the Even-Handed Synod, of which I am a member, as is Prince Gorm Greathammer and Princess Thramira Greathammer, amongst several other notable individuals. And of course, the most recent of all is the siege with Molthune, but I've already spoken with you about that.
Oh, that's quite a lot of information. Thank you.
Yes, as I said, I am a historian. I know quite a bit about these. I always enjoy being able to explain the history of our great Sky Citadel to new people.
Jessup starts clapping when he's done.
Thank
was
you very
beautiful.
much.
Such Kraggodan. I must ask, so the people here, are they tend to be quite united in government and in mind about what to do with the city?
Yes, we're generally rather united. So, clans compose much of Kraggodan's social structure. We have close to 100 different clans in Kraggodan. Yes, well, the number of clans was actually far higher at one point, swollen by the clans fleeing from Galdukar, but unfortunately it dropped precipitously in the aftermath of the Shining Crusade. But anyways, each clan is essentially a familial unit, and sometimes they number in the hundreds, though probably the majority of clans include maybe a dozen or two members. Clans are responsible for various duties and often bear long-standing ancestral charges, such as maintaining sections of the Sky Citadel or administrating certain services within the settlement. Kraggodan's desire for foreign commerce and trade began, again, with the explorers and expansionists from Taldor many years ago, and the arrival of these non-nomadic peoples, unlike the indigenous Khelids, with whom we had conducted inconsistent business, necessitated the conversion of the upper fastness above the mountain hold that we currently remain in into more of a trade market. And that was a defensible choke point there that could be used to conduct foreign trade. Foreigners would make brief stops at the Sky Citadel. They could sell their wares in the looming shadow of the mountains, and only those with longer-term interests would be admitted here to the mountain hold. A number of our Sky Citadel's institutions are guided by religion, which is tangentially related here to some of these clans that they have a long history of paladins and followers of Trud, or the various dwarven deities that we venerate here. Even those without direct affiliation, usually each clan has a specific temple that it serves. In addition, of course, to our devotion to Torag, we revere several other deities. Angrad, the Forged Fire, the dwarven god of war, is believed to have had a direct hand in influencing Kraggodan to join the Shining Crusade against the Whispering Tyrant. But nearly all of his faithful were lost in the war, and his worship has since fallen out of favor. Kraggodan is now more determined to protect its holdings than to send crusaders out into the wider world. The militant faith of Trud has largely supplanted that of Angrad. The deities of Dragovit, Grundenar, and Coles are equally revered for fostering business and community within Kraggodan, and each maintains sizable churches within the mountain hold. But altogether we are fairly united, despite being from different clans. We are all sons and daughters of Kraggodan.
Do most dwarves then accept their ancestral charge for whatever they're born into?
Oh, of course, yes. overwhelmingly, and with great pride.
That's different from the way It's interesting.
Yes, there could be no greater honor than to accede to the head of one's clan and take over the duty to Kraggodan that they have had for many generations. The history of Kraggodan, as I've already told you, is millennia old, and it is something we take great pride in.
So, if you're born into the life of a blacksmith, and you wanted to be, I don't know, a carpenter, that's not something that would happen.
Well, we don't have too many carpenters here, to be honest.
Of course.
But in general, yes, you grow up and you are taught by your father or your mother the tools of your trade, and you take over their business when you come of age. There are occasionally times when people will go out and do their own thing. Prince Gorm Greathammer, for example, he hasn't been able to fulfill his dream too much, but he is an avid and outspoken advocate of the Pathfinder Society. He has often said that he wished he could be an adventurer himself.
Why can't he?
Well, he has duties here, and he understands that, and he isn't necessarily being forced, but he understands that his duties at Kraggodan, currently at least, outweigh his duties out to the wider world. And perhaps someday when the king is able to mourn his loss and return to governance, perhaps there will be enough opening, and when this siege ends, perhaps Gorn could go out for a time.
But for now, duty calls.
For now, duty calls, I'm afraid, yes. I think one of the few positions that actually went out to the wider world is that of the Royal Archivist. My father, who preceded me as Royal Archivist, in fact, he went out on his own for a long journey. That has been a tradition for all the Royal Archivists. Before you can take this position, it is generally tradition for you to go out and learn more about the world so that you can better govern and help govern and advise the king of Kraggodan.
Have you done so?
He kind of looks down, obviously a bit saddened, but he says, unfortunately, not. As I said, my father, he spent decades wandering the surface world, partaking in adventure and learning an assortment of martial skills before assuming his role.
Enough to make the prince jealous, it sounds.
Yes, and, well, his sudden passing and my subsequent sudden elevation to this position unfortunately robbed me of that privilege. I was sort of thrust upon the position of Royal Archivist before my time had truly come, so I have not had the privilege of going out and learning as much about the world. Which is why I always enjoy when newcomers come to Kraggodan, because it is new knowledge that I should have had when I took this position.
I can offer you two things. First, my condolences, first for your father, and for a lost adventure you never got to take. The second, I don't remember much, but I was raised in Vigil with the Knights of Ozum, former allies in the Shining Crusades, which you mentioned. I could tell you what life was like there, and could tell you the histories, or at least what I remember.
Yeah, his eyes light up, and he says, associated with the Knights of Ozum?
Yes.
What a coincidence.
A happy coincidence, it seems. I was once among their ranks. I was raised
Indeed.
by them, actually.
I see you in a new light.
Yeah.
I feel like we are one step away from kin, even. Were you a dwarf, I'd embrace you.
But I'm not, and I'm still naked. That said, I look forward to the conversation.
Gideon, if you die, maybe Milani will bless you as a dwarf.
Aye, that's true. And
One
So
can
maybe
only
you
hope.
are a dwarf in a couple years from now.
One can only hope. I don't know
Yes.
about that, but
Well,
I
I'll
would
tell you
not-
this. If you are to come back as a dwarf due to your deity's grace, Kraggodan would be more than happy to welcome someone of your caliber.
Well, from what I've heard of Trud, I would get along quite well with the people here in the military. He takes a deep sigh. But that's for another life. No point in dreaming. We have our own task before us.
I mean, that's dreaming's good. You should do that.
Do you think?
Well, I dream about, the day after we win and we finally kick Xerxes' booty and we reclaim the Onyx Key or whatever, and, Nimithos is free of Malthun. Yeah, absolutely.
What would you do in that time?
Like afterwards, or
Yeah,
up to
if
it?
you didn't have to defend near Mythos and you finally got your years of peace, or retirement or something. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, probably try to get some more ranks in my quilting, I suppose.
That's a noble pursuit indeed.
I would make some fancy... Oh, that's what I would do. I would make some fancy new clothes for Kieran.
What would you do, Kieran, if you didn't have the life you're born in?
Kieran is fast asleep.
He's unconscious. He's actually under the water. He's drowned.
That was the negative level.
God,
Passed out like 10 minutes
Kieran,
ago.
we've got to spend another.
Oran, go get the diamond, quickly!
diamond.
Oran hops up naked out of the bath and charges towards the nearest jewel floor.
Oran gives two naked people breath of life. It's like, oh, stop, no.
No, but in all seriousness, I think Kieran has fallen asleep.
Asleep with like the towel over his head, like that. Little
Yeah, he's
thing.
like leaning up against the edge of the bath and is just asleep.
Oh, fair enough. I suppose not everyone could survive your lectures.
Well, yes, I've been told that I can carry on sometimes. Well, I've spoken quite a bit. I actually have some questions for you.
Yes.
You specifically, Oran. You're a son of Kraggodan. I'm curious, when did you leave?
It was not long before the siege took place. My adoptive father was a merchant here in the city. I might still be. I hope to visit, hopefully, while I'm here. I'm not really sure, but my calling was always to our father Torog, and I always wanted to help people. So I went out into the world, much like you had hoped to yourself. Becoming the archivist, I went out into the world to help people. And before I knew it, there was a siege, and I couldn't return home.
Yes, terrible timing that. I'm sorry that you were locked out of your home for so long. It grieves me that you might not be the only one in such a position.
What's your family name, Oran?
Grimbane?
Do you know the name?
It does not immediately trigger anything to my memory. Do you know, was your father, did he conduct his business here in the Mountain Hold, or was it up in the upper fastness?
It was up in the upper fastness.
Well, unfortunately you are barred from entry there, but perhaps I could,
Bard, but you're not a criminal.
No,
Eden?
yes. Well, perhaps I
you
could
can't
send...
go there, but
Perhaps I could send a message up, and maybe if he still lives, we could
come
have
down.
him come down. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I'll look into that. I would hate to keep you from your kin now that you've returned home.
You said he's a shopkeeper, your father?
Yes, a merchant. Yes.
Oh, maybe. Do you think he'd give us some discounts?
no. You pay full price, Jessup.
What?
Friends and family pay
No,
full price.
family discount.
No, you know me.
Kieran immediately wakes up and goes, "Full price?
discounts.
What? What are you
Full
talking
price?
about? Full
Dude,
price?
go back to sleep. You trust me. Just
No, I
sleep.
definitely heard something that didn't sound right."
I just say.
Well, we found out Oran's father, or adoptive father, is a merchant, and we just thought maybe we could get a friends and family discount.
And I was simply telling Jessup that the best way to show your support for friends and family is to pay full price.
I don't think that's right. Doesn't sound right to me. How did we get to this conversation? I swear we were just talking about Kraggodan or something.
You've
Oh,
been
well, they were-
asleep. Yeah.
Oh, that was about an hour ago.
Yeah, how I came to leave Kraggodan and venture out into the world. It's been rough out there. We certainly the people of Nermathis could use the help of the dwarves.
Indeed. Well, in regards to your father's business, I can only hope that he's doing well. As I said, the upper fastness has been hit quite hard from the siege. Nobody has been in particular danger. We retreat down here into the mountain hold before anybody is really caught by Morthuni incursions, but it has made conducting business with foreigners particularly difficult, and most of the merchants up there rely heavily on foreign trade.
There
for
are
their
siege
business.
lines now.
What's this?
You said you're presently under siege.
Yes. If we can ever perhaps, after the council meets with you, if they can perhaps expand your privileges And if we can take you up to the upper fastness, you can see their camps just from. Actually, you can see it just by standing next to the fist.
Wow. I must say, it's amazing. It's a testament to the strength of the Citadel. You would never even know that you wanted for anything or that you were in a sense of danger.
Indeed. Well, perhaps the most important tactical element to understand about this ongoing siege is that they've yet to break past our uppermost fortress in the upper fastness, as I just said, dubbed the Fist. The implacable defense of Marshal Renso ensures that enemy soldiers have yet to enter the mountain here.
A good name, the Fist.
Yes. Well, if you saw it, you'd know, because it's a giant fist.
No way, it is. It's a statue.
Yes. Well, yes, actually. It's quite marvelous.
That's amazing. No.
Yes.
You're joking.
No, it is a marvelous.
How big is it?
Well, here, I'll show you a picture.
Good
Oh,
lord.
Never thought I'd see Gideon get so excited over a statue.
What? Where did you get that picture? We're naked in the bathhouse.
Can you all see that? I said show to
It's a
players.
waterproof image he keeps somewhere.
The fist, yeah.
No, Gideon appreciates architecture. Vigil has some quite astounding, cool-looking stuff.
Kieran
Nothing
falls
like a
asleep again.
Giant fist, though.
Yeah, it's quite marvelous. You can see some of the dwarven visages on the side of the mountain there in the
Oh
image.
my word!
You know, I hate to alarm you as impressive that is. You know, we really need to make sure we have an impression with your leaders later because it only takes one of those onyx statues things for a tower to pull up and then troops to be able to pull right in. So it only takes one person to sneak in.
I think it should be more difficult now. We've identified more clearly their point of entry and how it connects to the Long Walk, and the Kraggodan has plenty of magical protections. They would have difficult means of flying or teleporting in.
I don't think you understand quite right. We've seen. I'm not quite sure if it's the Onyx Key or perhaps some shard. These towers can erect anywhere. They need not come through the passage that we gained access to the city.
Oh, yes, but they would have to physically come here first, yes? That's how the towers are made? They cannot be made remotely.
I think in theory, yes.
Like someone would have to be present with the artifact and activate it, no?
That's true. Someone would have to be there.
Well, we think that's the case, but we actually came here hoping that you would tell us.
The one we saw, that's what happened. He pulled it out.
Yes, well, I can tell you this. I can do more research. There's plenty of books that I still need to familiarize myself with in our millennia-old history. I can perhaps look back at some of the oldest archives that we have and see if there's more details on this now that I know more clearly what I'm looking for.
Could I be of aid to you?
Perhaps. Yes, I'm sure it wouldn't be an issue if I were to allow you in. Certain books probably would be off limits for
That's all right.
non-citizens. And then other certain books would probably be off limits even to certain citizens. I'll have to check with the permissions there, but
We
I'll
can
see.
handle it
perhaps.
tomorrow.
Yes.
Besides, I think I'm all bathed up, Kieran. Are you ready for food?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I feel splendid. Oh, but we have to buy new clothes first. I personally have to buy new clothes.
No.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind some new underwear.
Yes, well, of course, yes. I can lead you to one of the more well-renowned shops that is particularly aimed towards tailors for our human-sized citizens.
If you'd be so kind.
Absolutely, yes. And you all get out of the bathhouse, and he leads you down to pretty much the other side of the mountain hold over here. I'm pinging the...
A lot of walking.
Yes. So also, just so you're aware, every square on this map is 600 feet, so you're going like... It's a like 2 miles, almost 3 miles of walking.
Wait. We're walking for 50 minutes to get there?
Yeah, well, he's taking you to a particularly well-known spot for very nice clothes.
You're willing to walk 50 minutes for clothes, Kieran.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, what else are we really gonna do?
Dimension doors to the clothing store.
Unfortunately, I don't have any of those slots left.
Yes, and I would also advise be careful where you cast teleportation spells while you're here.
Oh, do you have protections against that?
Yes, we have certain teleportation trap protections that be careful.
Traps, not just anchors.
Oh yeah. Don't teleport into Kraggodan without prior authorization. It will not end well.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
It's
well, I mean,
terrifying, which is very cool.
It is imperative. Otherwise, Morthune could just send some wizards in. But yeah, we have plenty of magical protection. So I'd be very careful what spells you try to cast.
Oh, well,
Just saying.
I don't plan on casting any spells here unless a fight breaks out, which I don't anticipate happening, hopefully, but...
I can't imagine a fight would break out in the Mountain Hold.
You'd
if it
be
did,
surprised. We can be quite argumentative.
well, if it did, whoever was the aggressor would be outnumbered by about 24,000. So,
At this clothing place, Kieran is going to drop, well, between this clothing place and if they have like a jewelry shop, he's going to drop 750 gold on fancy outfits for everybody and jewelry and
That's like several outfits.
We
are
That's
linked
like
out.
a ton.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
like
well, yeah, he's gonna get several backup outfits as well, like more practical outfits, but also he's getting the nobles outfits and then the
Yep.
corresponding jewelry and like
Yep, so
new
nobles-
boots and things.
Hey, Kieran, I only need 1/2 of these outfits. I mean, if you turn them inside out, you get 2 uses.
Well, no, I will not hear anything of the sort, Jessup. We are not living that way any longer, all right? We've made it back to proper
I mean, save some money.
civilization.
Gideon's got 4 pairs of boots, so...
Yeah, it's a fine way to live.
Well, I owe Gideon a pair of boots anyway, so...
All right, I'll accept a pair of boots. And he looks around
Yeah,
and
yeah,
finds the sturdiest, most expensive pair of boots.
yeah, a noble's outfit is 75 gold, and a royal outfit is 200 gold. So, in between there, you could easily find some nice stuff. Jewelry goes. I mean, you can go way, way up there in jewelry. If
Still,
you really
though, to
want.
spend 750 on clothes.
750 is
Well,
perfectly enough.
here's
like,
my thing, though.
absolutely.
Is in the noble's outfit text, it says a would-be noble also needs a signet ring and jewelry
Yes.
worth at least
Yep.
100 gold to accessorize the outfit. So Kieran is going like he's going all out on these. So you guys are getting jewelry as well.
So, question about the signet ring. I imagine you can get like a custom symbol made for those. Yeah.
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 Is everybody getting any particular thing for the signet ring?
No way they have like brands, because you'd have to like make a cast to.
Yeah,
What do
Carver.
they have?
Yes, we have some casts that we could do. It would take a little bit of time, but I mean, it would be ready much sooner than you would think. The fine gentlemen here at these establishments have such a high degree of craftsmanship that they can make these rather quickly.
Are you serious?
Yes, if you would like a custom sigil here, by all means. You might have to draw it out yourself, or perhaps help them draw it out to be satisfactory. But yeah.
Okay. And now Gideon has interest in it because it intersects with his painting and veneration for Shaylin, the goddess of arts and all that. So he's all like, yeah, let's do this.
Gideon, you should do a ring for each of your deities, and you can go bling it down the street.
Do you think I should get one for each of one of them?
Yeah, sure, why not? I mean, Hursk used to do toe rings, too.
Yeah, it's on me, Gideon. So if you want one for each finger, go for it.
I don't need one for each finger, but
Oh, yeah, I
Yes.
mean, you need at least 2 open for the specialty magical rings, though.
yeah, I have them.
So you really only have, 8 fingers to go with.
And 10 toes.
True. Right. I hear you dwarves like to wear the toe rings.
Yes.
Yes, we do. That is a cultural icon of ours, toe ring.
Let's just say that the more gems you can keep on yourself, the closer you are to the earth itself.
Indeed.
I can respect that. I can respect that.
That's pretty good. So Gideon actually will go ahead, like he'll start like communicating with the craftsman there, like, oh, can you make it, accommodate how he has to get the gauntlets to his armor on.
Yeah, and I'm gonna pick some deities, and I'm gonna get probably 4 rings.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Kieran already has a signet ring. That's what his ring of protection is. So he doesn't
Okay.
need a signet ring.
So yeah. So you're just keeping your old one. Gotcha.
Yes, but he will commission an ear cuff that he's sketched in his journal that is like a dragon that's gonna like curl around his ear. So he's gonna provide his sketches to a metal worker.
I'm trying to keep Kraggodan near you.
So just so I have a general idea, would it be like somewhat reminiscent to like the Skyrim dragon symbol? You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes, I
Because
actually.
that's the first one that comes to my head. Would it be anything reminiscent to that kind of? Just so I have an image in my head. It doesn't have to be the same. Just like
Well,
general.
I have an image
There you
of. Let me see if I can find it and I can send it to you.
Is there a ranger symbol that I can use?
The Rangers, I believe they do have.
They do have, yeah.
Yeah. So here they have this one.
Yeah, let's do that in like a really cool forest Phaendar green.
Okay. Absolutely. Oren, is there anything specific that you would like?
I mean, I'd be happy to take a Torag signet ring. That sounds quite nice. Nothing ostentatious, but
Yeah,
you know.
the Torag one, they have plenty of those pre-made,
Sure.
so you don't have to wait for those at
Yeah.
all.
He gets 5 rings on one hand, one for each letter, so it says Torag when he holds a
Torag.
fist.
Funny, it's the Torag.
I just see us at like a gift shop, and like there's all these rings with like your name on them. It is
Yeah.
Ozin, Orim, Oran. Here it is, Oran. And like we're over here, like, okay, we get like the custom pressed pennies, you know, just waiting, just waiting for like 30 minutes.
That's great.
And Oran's already done at the gift shop. He found what he needed.
Yeah, so they can get all those. Oh wow, that is intricate.
And if I need to do more than 750 for all this, I can go 1,000 from my stuff.
That's probably fair because there's quite a few signet rings being going around, but that would probably be enough, I think.
Okay.
For all of the outfits, all the rings, any other accessories that you'd like. Yeah.
And Kieran's also gonna get a couple additional like practical outfits, not just like he's going all out on the fancy stuff, but also he's gonna stock up for future journeys.
Yeah, you should probably get some clothes for more summertime and hot weather.
Yeah, right. I've been wearing this cold weather gear for so long. But excellent. You guys have great taste down here. This is very well made clothing. And I also would ask that the dragon ear cuff be made out of like a special metal. I was looking through the special materials and I didn't find anything like particularly cool, but
Well, some of the common ones are cold iron, of course, mithril, adamantine. Those are rather expensive. There's
I like
fire forged steel.
mithril sounds really neat.
Mithril's very lightweight, very durable. Yes.
Yeah, right. Right. Is there any way that you can add in some like, well, you know what? It might be better if it's like a darker metal actually. If there's any way you could put in like blue dyes into it as well, that would be neat.
Yes, well, I think mithril is naturally sort of a. I mean, it mostly looks like silver, but it has a bit of a blue tinge to it.
All right. Well, that works for me. I can do that.
But yeah, we could certainly have someone here. I'm sure they could add in a little bit of a bluish tint, more so than usual to it. I'm sure.
Excellent. Fantastic.
So, how much would it cost, and would it be possible for the all of the painted heraldry and designs that Gideon has done himself on his armor pieces and on his shield and stuff? How much do you think it would cost, and would it be possible for them to like etch those in, or like further engrave them somehow into the metal without compromising its durability?
I would say. So, how many are you thinking?
So he's got the shield that's got a custom emblem, so that would be chief priority 1 if you could get that done. And then each of his different pieces of full plate he does paints. He paints the edging on them, like the thorns and the rose petals and stuff. So if they could basically go over where he's already painted and just etch those designs in, that's what you would want.
Yeah, I would say. So they're large symbols all across your shield and armor.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that, it would probably take a couple hours to do that. Yeah.
I have no idea.
because it's etching into metal.
I'd even
You
wait
don't wanna-
days.
Yeah, you don't want to break it or anything. I would say for probably 50 gold, they could get it done in a day if you wanted it done really fast.
I'll absolutely spend the gold for that. No problem.
Yep. Consider it underway. And yeah, so as you guys are walking around from place to place and you're doing all these things, Carburton again would continue speaking about things, like he would continue on about like details about the Malthuni attacks, and he'll be rather proud about what he says. Things like, yes, Malthun's army continually blunts itself against our defenses, unable to fully dismantle our sturdy stone bulwarks. The sub-settlement of Skyhome has repeatedly fallen to Malthuni aggression, but most times it has already been abandoned by the time the army marches up the wide entry stairs. Renzo sees the eventual need to retreat to the mountain hold, but she assumes that the Malthuni also realize that such a battle for the upper fastness is just a preview of the hardship to come in assaulting the mountain's interior. The even-handed Synod holds routine discussions on how to proceed should the upper fastness fall. Ample food stores and underground farming ensure that we can last for centuries before worrying about starvation. While much of our armed forces are engaged on the surface, there is no doubt that should the mountain hold come under threat, the divine defenders of Trud will lead the active defense against the human aggressors. Even then, the mechanics of the elevators connecting the mountain hold to the upper fastness are such that we could easily just lower the elevators and prevent them from returning to the surface, effectively isolating the interior city from a traditional siege. All of these considerations, when combined with our ongoing successes, mean that the citizens here feel little active pressure regarding the human siege. They view the assault as a reaffirmation of our martial prowess and the pig-headed nature of Malthun. After all, 2 years is a short time in the lifespan of a dwarf, and thus far Malthun has, in our eyes, only managed to displace and inconvenience a number of merchants.
To that point, I do wonder about. I vaguely understand the complicated politics of why Malthun believes they have claim over Nirmathi's soil. Why try them so often, or stake claim to Kraggodan? Surely this has been dwarven land for even before the Malthun had empire near here. Is that correct?
Oh yes, this, as I said, this was dwarven land before any of the humans came here.
Well,
it was originally dwarven land.
it was after the quest for Sky, to be fair, but yeah.
Yes, of course. We expanded into this territory. We didn't find any real inhabitants during the time. The orcs had sort of wiped out anyone who was nearby. But the Kelids came by every now and then, but they were nomadic. They never stayed, so they didn't really care about who owned the land. It wasn't until Taldor came that they asked for land in the area, and we ceded it to them for a buffer between us and Belkson. And then, of course, you're probably more familiar with some of this than me. Taldor ran into some issues, political issues, and eventually I believe it was Cheliax that seceded Taldor, and then eventually Malthun broke free of Cheliax, and then Nirmathos broke free of Malthun, is my understanding of how it went. But most current owner of the land, other than Nirmathos, of course, but no human would have the memory to recall the original claim.
Malthun? Wait, say that again.
Other than Nirmathos, Malthun was the most recent human organization to own the lands.
Ah, other than Nirmathos.
Yes. Prior to Nirmathos, it was Malthun. Prior to them, Cheliax, and so on. But that is why Malthun sees it as their most recent claim, but they don't really recognize any claims prior.
Of course not. But why try to take Kraggodan then? What do you think motivates that decision? I mean, for all that Malthun is, normally they are, on some level, legalistic about internally justifying their campaigns and not...
Oh, I'm not sure. I don't know what has possessed them to take these actions. I mean, I can understand they might have desire to enter the vaults, and gather ancient dwarven artifacts to aid them in their continual attempts to reclaim Near Mythos. But in terms of imprisoning diplomats or laying siege to us, I
That
don't know.
seems quite strange.
Well, really, the diplomats is the only thing that I can't currently wrap my head around. I can understand that they might use that as an excuse to wage a campaign, but to be perfectly honest, myself and any of the other military advisors here in Kraggodan, including Renso herself, we don't see any possible avenue to victory for Multhun. Every significant advance that they make against us, they eventually have to recall their forces because of our light concentrated fire, and then we just reclaim anything that they took. It's been a back and forth, and even if they do push us to the mountain hold, as I've already said, that's the beginning of the siege at that point. I don't know what pushes them to be so consistent.
I'll be honest with you, politics sometimes evade me, but I cannot understand at all what would motivate Teldas as an individual or Multhun as a nation to think that surely the capturing of your diplomats would be seen as a declaration of war, nothing less. But surely there's no, like you mentioned, victory for them.
I can only imagine that it might be overconfidence. Multhun has always had a very strong military. Their navy especially has been rather superior. But of course, their navy means nothing against us. And while their ground forces are more mobile than Kraggodan's, and mobility is what ultimately led to our defeat, the punitive forces' defeat, I think perhaps they overestimate their military forces. They don't truly grasp how difficult it would be to really lay siege to Kraggodan. I don't think they've fully understood that yet.
No.
I've heard that the military commander for them has voiced complaints. From what I understood, that his higher-ups have demanded that his siege not result in the destruction of any, I guess they would call it, historical artifacts. Hence why the Multhuni siege has not really shown much siege equipment. They haven't bombarded us with catapults to destroy everything, and that's sort of hampered their efforts even further.
Then I really struggle to understand. Jessup, what has been the result of Multhun's aggression against Near Mythos? Surely the Rangers continue to hold them off because Near Mythos exists as a country. That's where I walked from, free before the Ironfang Legion. I recognize that Multhun has military strength, but they don't seem quite successful in their most recent endeavors.
Well, it's not an off-tug-of-war battle. Every other year it seems like somebody else is on top, but we stand firm. I don't, unfortunately, know much anymore, especially now with the Ironfang Legion pretty much putting a kibosh on a lot of the Rangers.
Well, if I might add something, I'm quite far removed from all of this, but I have background as a soldier, and I've spent some time in Near Mythos, and for me, the terrain is probably one of the biggest advantages that Near Mythos has. If you've got an organized military, it's going to be hard to move through a forest like the Fangwood. Outside of the Iron Fang with their towers popping up here and there, I don't think they would have either been successful at taking over Near Mythos had they not had the advantage of mobility.
Well, and I think unfortunately that's where the surprise attack from the Legion really caught us a lot off guard here. I mean, Multhuni soldiers are probably a little bit more predictable, but we had the home field advantage for a while.
I don't know. The more I hear about it, I really question Multhun's judgment, and I've already decided to defend Near Mythos and pledge shield against aggression, and I've seen them as that. But the more and more I hear, the motives don't seem to make much sense, unless it really is as, sinister as one might think.
Well, who knows what they think over there, but to be perfectly honest, it hasn't served to inhibit our daily life too much.
That's fascinating. Really fascinating.
I just was thinking that it has affected Near Mythos.
That's very true, but they don't have the strongholds like this.
Yes, well, we were on our way to dinner, were we not?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'll treat you all to dinner. Although I don't know if we'll be able to get into anything truly nice like what I have in mind today. I don't know if you need reservations in advance or not, but
Well, reservations would probably be best, but I think they would likely have an open room reserved if I'm with you.
excellent. Excellent.
All right, now we're really partying in style. Someone as renowned as yourself, you're saying?
Well, I tend to have a good reputation, yes.
Ah, so do we, where we're from.
I have an A reputation, not exactly always good. But good enough.
Great. Now, how far do we have to walk to get there? Is that back on the other side of the city?
You better
Um,
not say another 2 miles.
So, I mean, it's not all the way back.
That's all right.
It's closer to like the center of the city, so it's like a mile and a half.
That's fine.
It's
That's fine.
Fine, it's fine.
Done worse. We walked 130 miles in the
Yeah.
Darklands. No
I've
problem.
marched before. Just on a day of leisure, you don't expect that, you know. don't they have little, I don't know, some taxi we can get?
No, unfortunately, dwarves are perfectly content to walk around.
At 20-foot base speed.
We're good at trudging.
Right.
You just trudge to the next spot.
All right. Well, lead on. Trudge ahead.
So yeah, he leads you to a restaurant that's here in like the center section of the city, and you go in there, and again, it is lavish, and they take you up, and it's like the third story of this this high class restaurant, and you guys can order all pretty much anything that you would like to order.
Okay. What's that going to put me back? Like
Let me see.
500 gold? Because I'll do it.
Don't
Holy
think it
moly.
would be that much. So food and drink. So even if you got like fine wine, or like
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
like named like old law whiskey type stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're getting some old law
Now
whiskey
we're talking.
today.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so old law whiskey is like 20 gold per bottle.
Isn't that okay? Real quick, going back all the way to when we first escaped Phaendar and we first set up camp, and Volus came back. We
Yep.
shared a bottle of was it Old Law whiskey?
It
I think
was.
somebody had old law whiskey.
Yeah. It's very expensive, well known.
Well, yeah, we're definitely doing that.
Yeah, and it says that a banquet per person is 10 gold. So I'd say if you wanted to get like really nice whiskey for everybody, it says caviar is 50 gold. Anybody want caviar?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So that would probably be like 75 per person.
Okay,
Easy.
I'm just gonna
Wait,
drop
for a whole
500
bottle
with
of
the tip.
whiskey?
Listen, I just want to point out something. We're inside of a mountain stronghold. Don't ask where the caviar came from. Okay?
Well, so
I
one thing you
wouldn't.
know is that he did mention underground farming. So they have their own like
Fisheries.
ecosystem down here.
Yeah, surely they have fisheries.
And again, so this chamber,
Hey,
let me just
fish.
measure it. Let me just measure it from one side to the other. This chamber is 17,000 feet long and 12,000 feet wide. There is a lot of land here. So, yeah. They've got their own whole ecosystem.
Oh, is there a roof above us? Are we like in a cabin?
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah, so
cave?
again, this is an enormous enclosed chamber underground.
Oh my gosh,
Again,
this is so
you have-
cool.
You have the iron like cauldron brazier type thing at the ceiling that is reflecting light off of the minerals in the chamber ceiling, and that's what's creating all the light. There's like a mini sun in this chamber, but it's all underground. And on either side of this chamber, you have like the cliff edges with where it says the edge mines, and if you go down enough, that just leads to the lava below. So this whole place is a chamber that is like above the lava, which powers everything from steam and whatnot. So it's a marvel of engineering.
So basically, Kieran's gonna wake up in the morning and do his 10K run, just running from one side of the
Yeah.
city to the other and back.
Yeah.
You said powers.
And you're gonna make a guard run with you.
Yeah.
They have steam power. Do they have electricity here?
They would almost certainly have to have steam power because again, you saw all those metal and ceramic pipes that are siphoning steam and gas from below. And like if you brought that up to Carbert, and he would mention, he's like, yes, we use those for power, but we also use those to monitor the volcanic activity. We don't want anything to grow, we don't want too much pressure down there for obvious reasons. But yes, we've engineered it so that, again, the bathhouse is powered by the lava far below, and many of our other amenities are.
Is Kraggodan kind of like dwarven steampunky?
Isn't
It probably
all
would be,
dwarven
yeah.
stuff steampunky? I mean, isn't all dwarven stuff like that?
No.
Can I say something real stupid? I'll just throw myself under the bus here. So Josh was like, "Oh, do they have electricity?" And I was like, "Wait, there's electricity?" Forgetting that that's what my character.
Yeah, yeah. They have electricity?
They have
What?
electricity.
So yeah, you guys have your fine dining, and by the time you get through all that, I don't know if there's anything else you want to ask Carbert. And the only thing I have left is information about the even-handed synod itself, but I've pretty much exhausted everything else that I had written.
I don't want to hear anymore. I'll read it. I'll read it later.
Yeah. The only other thing, and I was talking with Jason about this out of game, is over the next couple of days or whatever, and we can role play this, but would be like the buying and selling of items. So we have a whole bunch of stuff in our inventory that we got to sell off, and it currently came to like 91,000 of sale value of items. But Jason said that just due to Kraggodan being in a siege, that he's going to cap it at, I think you said 75,000, Jason?
Yeah, so Kraggodan has enough. So they haven't had foreign trade. Everything has been internal for the whole time. So they can muster up, they can purchase like 75,000 gold worth of stuff. But most of that stuff I'm going to hand wave, and it's just going to be like, go ahead and sell 75,000 gold worth of whatever items you don't want. And then you'll have your cash that you have plus that. And then you can split that up and use that to purchase anything that you might want. If you go to the handouts, you should see there's a couple more handouts. There's a handout for Kraggodan under campaign lore. If you wanted to read all about Kraggodan, most of that I've told you, but there might be some other details I skipped over. There is a handout for Carbert and Lightbrand, which shows the creature on the staff, by the way, which I'll show it to you. That's what it looks like.
Is that an imp?
You would be able to tell anybody with knowledge planes. It is a magma mephit.
Oh, a mephit. That's what I meant. I've seen water mephits.
Both of them have spectacles on, and the mephit will, this whole time, the mephit mirrors like everything that he does. Like anything that Carburton does, the mephit like does the same motions.
So did the mephit get in the bath with us?
Yeah.
Nice.
And mephits, they're not evil. They're just neutral dudes, right?
Yeah, so magma mephits are neutral, yes.
Okay, cool. Because I remember imps, you have to be evil aligned to have one of them, so I didn't think you had an imp.
So there's that handout if you wanted to read more about himself. And then the one that I actually wanted to talk to you about is in book 4 under handouts, there's the actual statistics for Kraggodan. So the base value is 9,600. So you basically have a really good chance of finding anything at that value or below.
Oh no, I want something for 10,000.
So do I.
Oh no, are you serious? 400 gold pieces?
Unfortunately, yeah, so it says under besieged, it says decrease purchase limit by 20%. So unfortunately,
Oh no!
because they are under siege, this unfortunately is the case.
So the 9,600 is after the 20%.
Yes,
Okay.
I believe so.
So,
Yep.
yeah. So what
Because
I'm
it
going
says,
to do...
to illustrate a Kraggodan prior to the siege, this disadvantage in racially intolerant qualities should be removed from this. So it's included, yes.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I will tally up with the gold that we have plus the gold we'll get from selling those items, and then I'll let everybody know what we have to spend, and then this next week we can decide what we're buying.
Oh. So if something is above the base value, you have to roll to see if you can find it? Is that how it works?
Well,
Or is it not
you have to
possible?
roll even if it's under it. So purchase limit, let me read that again for everybody here.
Don't cities also have... Oh, there it is. Did you roll the minor, medium, and major items?
I have not, but I can do that sometime this coming week. So purchase limit. This section lists the community's base value for magic items and gold pieces. There is a 75% chance that any item of this value or lower can be found for sale in the community with little effort. So that implies to me that you could find something above it, but it would be a lower percentage than 75%.
Okay, I'm willing to negotiate with you and figure that out if you're willing to do that too.
Yeah, and if it says if an item is not available, a new check to determine if it becomes available can be made in 1 week. So depending on how long you're here, there might be multiple chances of you
Can you
finding
guys
it.
imagine if we had all those cloaks still that we could sell?
Right? Would have been nice.
Man, I am loving Kraggodan so much. I'm not even joking. I know we got a huge lore expo dump, but I'm like, yes, tell me more.
Yeah, it says when you first meet Carburton, it gives a little bit of insight into how he handles things. It says he takes some time to explain the city's recent history, starting with the intrusion, yada yada, historical information, and then it says that he is very, very open to talk to you about anything, pretty much. He is fascinated. It says that he is fascinated by the PCs and their stories and their habits and everything about them. So,
He's a level 10 wizard.
yeah.
And Prince Gorm is cool. He's a Bard 7 and Pathfinder Chronicler 2. It's pretty cool. A stalwart defender?
Did you see in the details there the this is actually a different handout, but the handout that talks no, it's in the Kraggodan. At the very bottom of the Kraggodan when it says Multhun's Advance, the general for Multhun is a Bard 4, Cavalier 7, Battle Herald 3.
Hey, that was like Elwood's first concept build.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
But yeah, I think we will end this session with you guys settling in for the day here at Kraggodan, your first basically end of the half day at Kraggodan, and decide if there's anything specific you want to do, or if you just want to handle purchasing stuff out of game, and then we can maybe, if you want, we can forward time a little bit next session and just go to the council meeting, or like we can handle that however you want to do. Just think about how you want to do things. Let me know, and next week when we meet back up, we'll figure out how we want to proceed in Kraggodan.